beep, respectively.
Yes.
I got to record, and then I will be. Give me a second.
Waveform. Tiny little waveforms.
Yes,
waveforms
I am ready.
Forming
Waveform. My
waves.
waveforms look tiny. I hope that's okay.
That's
Mine are
okay.
tiny too.
Sean's never complained.
Okay.
Sean is not a size queen. Wow. All right. Let's clap beep respectively at 15 and 20. 1520. Dan, can you hit me with a get in there?
Get in there.
Oh, okay. I needed that this morning.
There you go. You got it. Yeah.
I needed to lock in.
Sean, that get in there is not part of the 2 beeps. Don't worry about that.
Nope, it's not a beep.
That is like that's a specific thing. Oh man, now I'm just thinking about KJ.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, when the kids talk about doing K, it's not ketamine. It's sitting in a room and watching Kangaroo Jack.
Special KJ, yep.
Oh my God, somebody just found in the chat, posted the tweet that Jerry O'Connell said about me and Kangaroo Jack.
This is when the internet's good, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Bro,
Faded in
crap.
black. Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Welcome to the Giant Bombcast, episode 879. We have your true Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actor, Best Actor, Best Actor nominees this Saturday for the Oscars. It is me, your host, Jan Ochoa, joining me, co-captain of the ship. He's also going to win Best International Film this year, Jeff Grubb.
That's right. You can only read me in subtitles. I am a foreign language film, and I'm happy to be here.
He was unfortunately cut from the movie Anora. He was supposed to be the 4th henchman. He was going to get into nothing but fun hijinks. Dan Reichert.
That's me. Hello. I do love hijinks.
And we have the bad boy of games media, the Pug Slammer. He's bad to the bone, and he was almost in A Man Unknown. Is that the name of the Bob Dylan movie? I don't know. Nope. All right. Well, it's Mike Minotti.
Hi, it's me. Boy, there's a very good chance I just haven't seen a single movie nominated for Best Picture.
What are the Best Picture nominees? Let me see if I have.
That's Wicked Part 1 is, which I doubt.
I think it is.
No, it's not.
It's not nominated?
Oh, it is. Wicked is.
It
Wicked
definitely
is.
Yeah.
There you go, Mike. Only because there's 10 now. Only because there's 10 now.
It's got a good chance of winning.
Mike, you're you're a big Amelia Perez fan, right?
Who's that?
All right. We
I
know
saw Dune
you
in
know
the
what?
Substance.
That's the right answer. Don't find out, Mike. Don't even look into it.
Right,
you're good where you're at. I haven't. No, I've seen most of these. What is Nickel Boys?
Most?
That's the Nickelback mockumentary where they're all played by monkeys.
Lexi in chat is saying I should watch Substance. I heard Dan talk about the Substance.
The Substance
and
is awesome.
I don't know if it's for me.
Why? I think it's a fun, interesting movie.
I don't think it's for Mikey either. I think there's too much like.
Does anything happen to a woman in the movie?
It's all that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, then, there you go.
A lot happens to one, technically maybe two. It's confusing. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. God, Hey, I was thinking about what's his face, Tom Hardy, because Emma and Grubb were talking about Venom yesterday on Game Mess Mornings. What is Tom Hardy just doing jujitsu right now? Is he refusing to act?
I think so. I've heard that guy's kind of a butthead.
Oh.
Yeah, he seems like he's in that part of his career where he would be the I'm just gonna go do jujitsu part of his career. You know,
Him and John Moxley. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of actors of his kind end up doing that for a couple of years. He'll be back.
I like him in movies. He's a good actor for sure.
Yeah. But he seems like he might be a butthead outside of movies, but that's why I'm very happy to just watch his movies and not hang out with him.
Yeah.
Right. maybe
I don't want to
the
hang out with him.
jujitsu has unbutted him, you know?
Eh.
You think the four of us could beat Tom Hardy at jiu-jitsu at the same time?
No.
Yes.
Four of
do you
us?
guys think you think okay, let's say for an entire match of tennis where you get like 6 or 7 games and there's a bunch of matches in there, do you think you could score a point on Serena Williams?
Absolutely fucking not.
I think a pity point where she'd feel bad for me.
I think if I had 100 years and I never got tired in that 100 years, I might get one by like accident. Like she like just like got distracted. 100 years, maybe, but in a normal game, no, not even like close. It wouldn't even be close.
You know what? I'm thinking about the 4v1 Tom Hardy, and I think we could take him. Yeah.
What's the approach here? Who's doing what?
We're not doing like the honorable thing where it's like we're waiting.
No, I full Nelson him, and you guys just take it from there.
Just punch his balls?
I mean, just you guys work the body. Yeah.
Can you full Nelson, then bring him down into like a kata hajime, and then we're just going to town on his nuts?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
I think that's what we do. Somebody claw at his eyes. Mike, you claw at his eyes. I'll go for the nuts.
How tall and how heavy is Tom Hardy? We got to really plan this out.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to put a meeting on the calendar right now for this. All right, we'll figure out the strategy.
He's probably like 5'4". It's probably gonna be fine.
He's not. Okay.
Hey, Jan, when me and Emma were talking about Venom, I thought about you. I was like, Jan likes those movies.
No, so the thing is, for the longest time, I hated those movies because I didn't like Tom Hardy's
the last
portrayal
one
in any of the Venom series. And then I watched the last one without seeing the second one, and then I fell in love with it.
Okay.
Because in my head, I started thinking about Venom as like an Audrey 2 situation from A Little Shop of Horrors. And then like I realized, wow, Tom Hardy's life as Eddie Brock fucking sucks now because of Venom. But they're friends. Tom Hardy's 5'9". Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm taller than Tom Hardy. I'm taller. I can take him solo. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I'll like schoolboy and like go behind him, and then one of you pushes him.
Okay.
Into Grub doing the full Nelson.
Right. I'll just be lying in wait. Don't worry. I'm Venom now.
And then we go to town on his balls.
Yeah.
That's how it ends. Yes.
Okay. All right. Good.
You're legally not allowed to send this to Tom Hardy or his representatives, chat. And
I don't know if he seems like a guy that's never been on the internet.
True. Yes.
Him and John Moxley have a lot of things similar to each other. Yeah.
He has an assistant that prints out the internet for him so he can read things.
I can't tell you how many times I think about the John Moxley interview when his book came out, when he was talking about the writing process, and he was like, "Yeah, just take all the notes, my notes app on my phone. I even a couple times I sat down on the computer. I even used one of those. Remember those things that I used to? I think he was talking to Renee, and Renee's like, a mouse? He said, yeah, remember those? Like I worked at a computer like with a mouse. Like it was this relic. This man does not know computers.
I love seeing couples that are like complete polar opposites, because Renee Paquette seems like a very nice lady that is kind of tuned into the online world.
Savvy.
Very
She's
savvy.
To everything, yes.
Yeah.
Just the friendliest person ever, and he's John Moxley.
Yeah, like it made sense that he lived in Las Vegas for a while just to run in the desert.
Oh, yes, and he was.
I like doing a podcast where there's something wrong with Mike's setup, because he just gets so annoyed, and you can see him like he's just like trying to fix it, trying to get back in the show. Mike, how's it coming over there?
I don't know. Earlier, I was really loud before we went live, and you all yelled at me, and I felt bad. And then the show started. Everyone chat said I was really low, and then I felt bad about that. So I'm just sitting over here feeling bad, but like taking solace in the fact that I could beat up Tom Hardy. Apparently.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, about remember Donald Duck?
Yes, he's right here.
He smiled. He smiled. Yeah, we got him. There we go. He's smiling now.
Some say
he's smiling. There we go. We got him.
Mike.
Yeah.
I think Spoon Heaven might come out this year.
Oh.
Oh, now you're just saying ridiculous things to try to perk me up.
Okay, Mike. Yo. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Very excited about
was
that.
rated in Singapore.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Yo. Yeah.
Hogs.
Hey, listener, he's making the face.
He's running off screen with a giant bug catching net.
Yeah. His jaw's literally on the floor. Yeah.
A bug.
He's floating in the air like he's a cartoon wolf smelling a pie.
Oh no.
Someone left a
gotta stop
pog on a
being funny.
windowsill.
We have to stop being funny. My face hurts.
All right. Well, how's everyone doing? Did we have a 3-day weekend? No, we didn't.
No,
No,
that was last week.
I did go tobogganing, and my child's skin did get rubbed off the side of her hand.
Yeah,
That
oh,
was,
I heard
God.
that story.
it was rough stuff. Yeah, it was. You're supposed to like hold on to these ropes on the side of the toboggan and pull up, and I was way in the back, she was way in the front, and there's my wife and my other daughter in front of me, and she got a little scared and kind of like let her hands go to the side a little bit, and then we get to the end and she realizes that she's in a great deal of pain.
Oh,
it was
no.
scary, but you know, we got off. They had a first aid and they treated it really fast. That's maybe the first and last time that child will ever go tobogganing.
Oh, sure.
Is my guess here.
How long is that toboggan then, Grub? Because if it's going to support you,
Yeah.
and like you're a tall man.
I'm a big boy. So I
And-
wrapped my legs around my entire family, basically. So that-
Wow.
yeah, but if I were to lay down on it at 6 feet tall, my head would probably be just hanging off. Because
Okay,
it's
so
about
not as-
6 feet long.
Not as long as a sandwich then.
Not as long as a Dan Reichert celebrity sandwich. Yeah.
Right.
What's, what's the difference between a toboggan and a sled?
Toboggan is a very specific kind of like wooden plank that curls up at the front so it can like, you know, go over the snow easy, and it's
Right.
got room for enough people, like
Is that Cool
multiple
Runnings?
people.
That's Bob's. Cool
I
Runnings.
No, that's
Bob's
about
sledding.
bobsled. That's
Yeah.
that's much more, you know, there's that, you know, that insists upon itself. This is just a plank of wood.
Okay.
Goes on the- goes on the
Rosebud's
snow.
not a toboggan. That's just a sled.
That's just a sled, yes.
Is the
That's right.
toboggan in the Mario Party 2 versus 2 mini game on 64 where you jam on A to get in and then you have to like it's
I think that is a bobsled.
that's a bobsled too?
Right,
Okay.
that's a bobsled, yeah.
Okay.
I've never been bobsledding. I've been luging. And then
Oh.
I've been tobogganing.
Luge,
this-
like the boots that WWE
That's
used to
lugs.
advertise.
That's lugs.
Yeah, I'm not,
Lugs.
yeah, I'm not lugs,
Mhm.
not Uggs,
Mm.
luge. Just
Luge.
that's actually a lot like a rosebud sled, but it's when you lie on your back and you kind of control by like moving your head. And then I just squeezed my my headphone cable and pulled it out, so I won't be able to hear you guys.
Oh, cool.
But I'm gonna keep talking for a moment.
Excellent.
Now I'm
Yeah.
done.
That seems scary. Luge footage always seems crazy to me.
What's
Yeah.
the other kind of luge? It's luge adjacent, but you're going head first.
Skeleton.
What?
Yeah, I know that from Tony Hawk Grinds.
That one's
There's-
called skeleton. Yep.
Oh.
Man and their skeleton. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
That's
Mike
scary.
Minotti, how much money would it take for me to pay you to go down like a professional luge course?
It'd have to be a lot. I'm already happy, so I don't need money too much. Although, you know, end of the world might be coming and all that stuff. So money might be up, but the money might lose all its
No,
value
no.
anyways.
Definitely money might be less valuable here pretty soon. We'll see.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I just don't want to. Yeah, that's fine.
It was fun.
I have a question for y'all. Speaking about fun activities, if a friend asks you, "Hey, do you want to go drinking?"
Mhm.
What is your assumption that the activity is going to entail?
Bar.
The word go drinking, the assumption is a bar. Yeah.
Or
Right.
like a parking lot somewhere.
Sure, maybe
Yeah.
drinks at a friend's place, perhaps.
Yeah. If the text said, do
Yeah.
you want to have some drinks tonight? I would think, oh, let's maybe just hang out at the house or something. But if you want to go drinking, we're finding a bar.
So then he told me to come to the almost boba shop that he manages, and then I go inside the kitchen, and there are a pallet of cantaloupes. And then he asked, "Hey man, I just called you over so we could drink, but also, do you think you could help me core, peel, and puree all of these cantaloupes for me with me?"
So you got a minimum wage job trap is what you ended up in.
got.
I got, but we did test like 4 different mojitos, and I don't know if he was fucking with me because he said, "I don't know which rum to use, so I'm gonna make you 3 different mojitos. Can you try and see
Okay.
if you can taste the rum?"
This is sounding better.
I could not taste the rum, and as the mojitos progressed, it made it exponentially harder to cut the cantaloupe.
That sounds like a really sad, like Emerson poem. I could not taste the rum. Yeah, just
Why is the rum gone?
That being said, I felt so alive cutting these cantaloupe.
yeah.
all right.
Is it because they're vaguely head shaped?
Oh no, ouch. Not at all. I was just like, oh wow, look at this repetitive task that I can do that I'm kind
okay,
of fast
sure.
Oh,
at
sure.
While drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
while
complicated.
drinking. And then
I
I
got-
was wearing an apron. I felt so alive.
Oh, nice.
I got like drunk for the first time in a while this weekend.
Go.
Yeah, I know. No, it's been so long. Like for the first time ever, I became one of those "I love you, man" guys.
Oh,
I made
nice.
like multiple people cry by just expressing my feelings to them.
Hell
right,
yeah.
just getting out of control.
Yeah!
That's
Getting
good
out
stuff.
of control. Then I was just
Very powerful, nice drunk like
and
Minati.
I
I
just
can
felt
see it.
like shit on the next day. I was like, oh, this is why I don't like to drink anymore.
I exposed feelings to humans. This is the
Right.
worst feeling.
I was like, oh god, other people know that I love them. That's awful. That's
I can't have that.
disgusting.
I've lost
I'm
my
just gonna
leverage.
I'm just gonna stay in bed.
I feel like I haven't really seen. Like I've definitely drank with
No.
Mike Minotti numerous times, but I feel like I haven't really seen you drunk. You know?
No, especially like because this last summer I was in such a I have 3 beers, I have a headache phase for whatever reason. So yeah, not a ton
Probably
of
'cause
it.
you're dying.
Yeah, probably the end is
Aren't we
coming
all?
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I am.
I mean, in general, I don't like to drink as much as I used to at all. I don't like to get drunk. That's why this is like probably the first time in a couple years I've gone there. And it was largely because my friend got excited and kept buying shots. And I was just like, I like my friend. I like doing shots with my friend. I will
Right.
not say no. Right.
Yeah.
I was at driving. So I was like, yeah, sure.
That's the thing I've always hated is a strong word because it's such a nice gesture when people are like, let's do a round of shots. I bought them. You know, it's like, well, you're not going to say no, but it's like, I've never enjoyed a shot. I've only regretted shots. And so like, whenever I see the like, hey, we're doing shots, like, it's mixed feelings, you know?
It's a big
Sure.
ask. It's a big ask to just be like, here's this thing that you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm about 40. You know what this does to me now? Like, this
I
is a
will-
lot.
I will never turn down a shot. I
No,
love
know.
I love Nikki Grayson to death, right? Nikki is the best. We can all say this, right? But I think this
The
was
best.
maybe SGF last year. And then we went to a bar and then Nikki said, let's do shots. And I buy shots and they come. And then Nikki's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that actually.
Ah,
Oh,
Nikki.
wow.
And I'm
Nikki was
Party
good.
like,
foul.
what do you mean you don't want to do shots? And
Those
they
are
didn't
yours,
even
Nat.
want-
Those are your problems.
They didn't even want to drink that night. So
That's incredible.
I just wound up taking the shots.
I made a very big boy decision this weekend because it's like, I guess I technically had a 4-day weekend because I had the surgery on Thursday morning and then they told me just to not do anything for several days. So it's one of those, but it sucks because it's not like a fun 4-day weekend because it's like, I'm just sitting around. Then like Saturday night, my sister was streaming and I was like, oh, that's fun. Okay. Oh, she's playing Devil May Cry. I really want to watch that. And, normally it's Saturday night, it's like, I'd like to have a drink. And I'm like Googling like, oh, can I drink after sinus lift surgery? And like, I got tons of stitches up here and stuff. And I was seriously thinking like, okay, it'd be nice to have a couple drinks, but also I'm reading that it thins the blood and it might just break through all the stitches. And then I've just got a mouthful of blood and I got to figure out emergency dentist on Saturday night. And I said, I will have a liquid death.
Wow. Very,
That's what
very,
it's there for.
very
Yes.
grown up of you.
Yes.
Not destroy your own mouth.
Yes.
Everyone else have an okay weekend before we get to the games.
It's everyone's weekend accounted for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It was good.
Antelope, tobogganing, liquid death, and I love you, man.
I did
Did it.
I did get a flat tire as well
Ugh.
on the minivan, and that was like right when we were getting ready to leave to go tobogganing. And I'm like, well, I kind of occasionally like changing a tire. It makes me feel like I've done something, even though it really represents that I did not deal with the fact that tire was going bald for a very long time. Although I did discover as I was changing it, it had a giant screw in it, so it wasn't really my fault. Either way, I was surprised that my minivan's donut, the spare tire, is actually on the outside of the van underneath. I hadn't had one of those before. Usually it's always been in the trunk of the car underneath like the floorboard. And it was very fun to figure out how to get to the tire. There is a bolt between the back seats that you have to get to by lifting up a flap on the carpet, and you take the little
Gimmick.
you take the gimmick
Yeah.
and you sort of just unscrew it, and it lowers down to the ground, and there's like this little hook that kind of pulls it up. And I was like, oh, that's pretty fun. The problem is, it's like this car's from 2012. The tire looked like it had been sitting under a car for 14 years, really rusty and stuff like that. But whatever, it got
It
me.
didn't have
to
a
the
screw in
Walmart-
it. So
Yeah, right, exactly. It got me to the Walmart Auto Center
And-
in no time.
am I correct in assuming that you and I would both be unable to change a tire?
Oh, there's no chance in hell. I
Yeah,
would pay
not
whatever it
happening.
costs. Yeah.
Guys,
No.
it's very
It's
easy.
very easy.
No, I
Calling
would.
someone.
There's no way my head wouldn't be crushed under a tire. That's how I
You're
would.
not going underneath.
Why would you put your
the
head
car.
there?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I was going to die this weekend, actually yesterday, because the water just stopped getting hot. Like we just didn't have hot water. And it's like, what the hell?
Was your pilot light out?
Well, so I texted the plumber and I was like, "Hey, what's the deal here?" And he's like, "I can come out, but I know you could do it, you know." And like we were talking about it, and he's like, "So I'm back there. I got Bonk, and she's looking in the little window to see the spark, and I'm learning how to like go to the pilot thing and press down the gas valve, and you press the little thing to make the thing, and it went for a second, it lit up, but then it broke. And the guy came out yesterday, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's fucked. We got to get a new water heater." And so literally yesterday, he came out, determined it needs a new water heater, called the guy, they brought out a new water heater, brought it in here. But while he was like doing something to the old one, I'm sitting here like just doing work stuff, and I hear this loud, it's like, you know, just right there, very close, like, and I'm like, well, that doesn't sound normal. And then I just hear the plumber just be like,
That's not good.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, what's going on? And he just kind of stumbles out, and he's just drenched. Just completely drenched. And he goes, in 30 years of doing this has only happened to me one other time. There is something going on with the pressurization with this water heater. And I ran up and got him a towel and everything, but it just like exploded all over him.
I like to imagine the woodpeckers are responsible somehow.
Likely, yeah.
They moved on to phase 2 of their plan. Yeah.
yeah.
What is like the biggest project or fix that you've done in your lives? Because mine is swapping out the water heater in my basement at this house. It stopped working. I bought a new one. I did everything myself. I had to carry the heavy one that had a ton of sediment upstairs. It was a pain in the ass, but I did it, got it working, and now we have hot water again. Yeah, how about you guys?
Mounting a TV, like a big ass TV.
Yeah, I did that.
I've done that a bunch of times now. Yeah.
And like fixing a hole in some drywall.
Sure. Yeah. That's a good one.
I guess I built a table, but that was for a job.
Sure. Okay. I still count
the basement here flooded one time, so my basement is basically just storage. So I had to like wade through the water and get everything out of the basement, and that alone took a few hours. And then fixing the whole leaking situation long and at least decent enough before the actual plumber came in. So that was a bad one.
I fixed a leak by doing some like epoxy stuff and putting it on a pipe and wrapping it up in tape and stuff. But just to understand why I'm not a handy guy, in the last week, my father texted me very proud that like I bought a drill. And I'm sure he had a coupon for a drill.
The good about this is the guy who often criticizes people for not being like man enough, right?
No.
First drill.
Everyone but him is very aware of how ironic all of this is. The guy who passes out if he has to get like a little blood test thing or something, he's the only one that doesn't get that. But he's living in this new place now, and he bought a keypad thing for a lock. So the one where you have to type in the number gimmicks, and then it unlocks the door. And he uninstalled the door handle and then just put the wireless keypad on there. So he doesn't have a door handle now for his front door. He has to grab the little keypad thing and pull or push it because there was only one hole there, and he replaced the door handle.
I just looked at the list of games. We can't talk about our lives anymore.
There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games.
But shout out to Paul Riker, the #1 fan of ladies' sweatpants out there. Very happy that I just want to I'm proud of that because that traces back to me because I introduced Dan to joggers, and then the joggers your dad bought again are those same exact cheap joggers that I recommended to you in the first place. I think we've all moved on from, but he's still super into them because they're $20 or whatever.
Yeah, no, I wore them once, and he kept making fun of me for wearing ladies' sweatpants. And then I bought him some for Christmas. He loved them. And then I got this text yesterday. Did you get those fancy East Coast sweatpants on Amazon? And I sent him the Amazon link. And it says, "Thank you. I've actually worn a hole in one of them. I need to buy more. I only wear them when I'm feeling fancy." The $19 joggers. Yes.
Store.giantbomb.com. There's joggers on there.
I kind of want to buy your father like a Juicy Couture sweatsuit.
Oh yeah.
He would eBay it immediately.
Yeah. I just want him to look at the box then.
Just shake his head. Yeah.
Just shake his head. Yeah. Steam NextFest is going on right now. There's an obscene amount of demos, and I'm oddly filled with hope for the video game industry because of them. One of the games I checked out was TMNT Tactical Takedown from Strange Scaffold. I don't understand how they keep making games.
It's a lot.
They don't stop. But this is very different than what I originally thought its format would be. This is very much kind of like the Hitman Go format, where you are moving like what looks like board game pieces around.
Sure.
And at least in the demo that is currently out, you are only controlling one turtle. I think the flow of the game is you may only be controlling one turtle at a time. And they do this interesting thing where instead of having like a static level, the level is constantly mutating. So it kind of replicates that side-scrolling beat-em-up feeling of like progressing through a screen after you've beat up a bunch of enemies.
That would be very much associated with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. People would feel that. So yeah, I could see why they would want to include something like that.
Yeah, and I think because this kind of happened with I Am Your Beast, but they never had like a public leaderboard where they're kind of pushing like speeding through a level, getting a high score, and it feels like the flow of Tactical Takedown is going to be similar to that, because a lot of the abilities you have are like kind of jumping around. The first turtle you have access to is Michelangelo, and some of his move set is you will ollie over enemies, and as you like kind of like checker piece go over another enemy or a Foot Clan member, you do damage to them, and then you can kind of like checkerboard jump around, eating or attacking the different pieces from there. It's really cool. It's really fast paced. So I'm kind of wondering how long the game is supposed to be, or how different the turtles will wind up eventually playing. It's neat. The setup is the Foot Clan with Karai, Shredder's daughter, has invaded the sewers, and Michelangelo doesn't have any access to the other turtles. It's a neat tactics game. I do want to shout it out specifically because it taps into my favorite part of tactics games, where if the map is kind of like looks like it is in a giant black void, you can kick people off of the map, and that's absolutely fantastic.
Can you defenestrate?
You can't defenestrate, but you can throw someone off a plane of existence, which is pretty cool.
That's might be better. Might be better.
Yeah.
Is there a new Turtles like movie or something coming out? Because I saw they added them to Call of Duty.
Yes. In fact, they're just assume there's always one. But these days, especially, there's always one. Nickelodeon goes hard on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Turtles have never
Every
gone
new
away,
generation of
really.
kids super duper gets into Turtles again. It's very similar to Pokemon and a few other things. Yeah.
They had a really good movie last year, Dan. I think you'd like it.
I heard that.
That's
Is it
awesome.
the one with like Seth Rogen and is
Seth Rogen produced
in
it?
it?
Yes,
John Cena is. Okay, yeah.
He's either Rocksteady or
no,
Bebop.
Seamus. Isn't Seamus in one of them?
Seamus was in like that live action Michael Bay one. The sequel.
Oh,
That's
right. One. Okay, jeez.
A while ago.
Wow.
I like this first line on the Steam page. Splinter and Shredder are dead. I'm like, oh, that's
The Deadly Alliance opening of just Shang Tsung.
Right,
They're going to
exactly.
announce that they're back in some Fortnite thing, and the last game's going to be really bad. Yeah.
I bought Donatello in Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
They had all four of them. They had bundles for all four, and it's like I can't buy all these.
We can do that. We could do a stream of us being the Turtles.
I can sing some Christmas songs.
Turtles. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, you could do a Christmas in February.
Have yourself a Ninja Turtles Christmas. I'm looking at this. It looks, I don't know, like a little bit of the whole they look like board game pieces thing almost kind of looks a little bit like an excuse to not have that much animation in it.
I mean, Mike, I think we got to realize at a certain point, all indie games do that sort of thing, right? Like they make them look like 8-bit because that's more affordable than making it look like a 3D game.
You're right. Who am I to complain? It's a style and it's
well, no, if it bothers you, it bothers you. Like you can't control that. So yeah, like I see it. I'm like at a certain point, I'm like maybe a little bit more flair would work for me as well.
Yeah, and they're not locked into the puzzle piece or board game piece look. Like Michelangelo will like kind of loosely animate when he's doing the different attacks. Like he'll be spinning his nunchaku around and whatever. I'm excited. I didn't bother to check when the official release date is. I'm kind of surprised that there's a demo out already. Speaking about demos, another demo I checked out was Wheel World.
Yeah.
Let me. I've heard people recommend this one. I'm gonna download this or set it up to download right now.
Okay, I'm going to boldly claim a headline that will be circulating around when this game eventually comes out, it's going to be Gears of the Kingdom because of bike gears.
Oh, that's very smart. That's good.
All right, Jan.
Yeah, Jan, I played the demo yesterday, and the two games I thought of first were Breath of the Wild and Burnout Paradise. So
wow, okay.
I thought that make Grub's brain do something.
The Burnout
that did something.
Oh, no, okay.
Because when you're getting you accumulate boost by like, it was the moment that like I did like a almost hit with like, I can't remember if it was a bike or a object, and it was like, oh, near miss, and I got boost, and I was like, that's a Burnout. And it's also, it's like, you know, it's open world the way that like Burnout is. It's pretty fucking cool. Like great look, great music, great just chilled, riding a bike around an open world, boosting around, jumping off ramps, like very up my alley.
Yeah, I was kind of bothered initially that it didn't kind of replicate the Tony Hawk formula of riding a little vehicle around, but I quickly got used to it. And you're right, Dan, it is an open world, just like Burnout Paradise. And you're kind of going to these different objectives. And where it's similar to, I guess, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, is that you have to go activate these beacons that will unlock parts of the map.
Bell shrines. They're like they're bike bells that are shrines.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it's really neat because some of your quests are just straight up like, hey, complete this race, beat this person, go to this other part of the map to unlock bike parts. And it feels like the bike parts, for as much as they throw at you at the beginning, I am under the assumption that you may actually have to tactically swap out some bike parts based off of like where you are on the map.
Yeah, there's like a lot of hairpin turns here, so I got to put on tires that have better grip and things like that. And you don't have to go to a shop or anything. You just pause and just swap things out instantly. There's fast travel that like I was just approaching like a porta potty on the side of the road, and there was just like some weird guy in there, and opened it up, and there was a portal, and he's like, "Oh, it's portal potties," and it's that's how you fast travel around. It's just got a real fun vibe to it for sure. Like even like the art style, if you take a look, it's that like
it looks nice.
Not quite cel. It's like that Sable game. I don't know. If it's technically cel shaded,
sure. Like flat shading. Yeah.
It reminded me also of that that skating shooting game that came out 2 years ago.
Roller Drome.
Yeah, Roller Drome. But
kind of that look, but a little like lighter, you know, in terms of just tone.
The music is also banging in that.
Yep. That game, I went from not knowing about it to mark on my calendar. That looks great.
Dan, you also put down that you've checked out some other Steam NextFest demos. Any other recs you can give?
Like one I won't give is the House of the Dead 2 remake. I love House of the Dead 2 on Dreamcast. Big fan of that. And it just didn't work the first like 4 times I tried to launch it. I just couldn't get into the game. Like the menus are all weird and mislabeled, and it's like, okay, this might be an indicator of quality right away. Also, there was an option where you could mute the reload. It literally says mute reload scream with a checkbox, and I'm like, I'm personally offended that that's even an option.
Right? Yeah. What the hell? That's like when people get mad that you can make games easier, like that, I am with you on that, where like I will get mad if you can get rid of that sound.
You have to scream reload at me every 3 seconds. Yes. And they changed the voices, the weird, House of the Dead voices. And so it's like not nearly as fun and campy, which was
Did they get the actors from the movie, from the Uwe Boll movie?
God, yeah, we could hope. If there's one positive I would say is that the actual like shooting of the zombies feels really meaty, and it feels just really just like they're really just getting messed up and body parts flying around and stuff. But I went from being excited to being like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just play the Dreamcast one when I want my House of the Dead fix. One that I am a little excited about is Tempest Rising, which that is just straight up Command and Conquer. It is like straight up GDI versus Nod. Like my barracks on the not Nod side was a giant fist building. Even the fucking unit voices. Every time I was like selecting stuff and everything, I was like, I swear to God, that's a voice from Red Alert 2. They got Frank Lepecki, the guy that did the Hell March and all the classic Command and Conquer stuff. He does a couple tracks. I believe I saw some comments saying that they did get members of the old Westwood team to work on the game. I don't know that for sure, but like it is very clear what they're going for here, from like the load screens and stuff, and welcome Commander, and like, command.exe and all this stuff. It's Command and Conquer through and through. There's the way it does like harvesters is really cool, because instead of building a refinery with harvesters that come out, it's like, at least with the faction I was, it's like a building on wheels, but then the wheels are all individual little harvesters. So you just drive the building to the Tempest field, and then the 4 wheel things break off, and the 4 guys go and harvest everything and bring it back. So you can move it around easily.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just like, it feels like what I would imagine Command and Conquer being like if it had remained a series now. It's makes me happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're probably
Slipgate. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the developer, and they like worked on Ghost Runner and stuff. Weird. Okay.
Yeah. Oh man, Steam NextFest. There's an obscene amount of demos. We're gonna try and download a bunch and check them out later this week on YouTube.
Yeah, I had one, my Hardcore Circus demo. That's a weird 2D platformer that's supposed to be extremely difficult. It is all about like maintaining your momentum and doing the tangential jumps from like swings. So you want to make sure you time it. So like if you got to go dead right on this swing because there's a spike up there, you got to make sure you hit the jump right when it comes on the downswing, and it's like you're even with the ground, so you carry that momentum directly forward, and you got to hit the next ring dead on. There's no give or take there. You got to get it right on there, and there's pretty spaced out checkpoints. So it's like these sections of really difficult platforming, very finicky, particular platforming. And then once you get through that section, then there's another section just like that, but with new obstacles in the way. I'm into it. It's got this like, satanic circus theme. Like literally, it starts with the devil.
That's your whole bag.
Yeah, exactly.
His Psycho Circus is your whole deal. Yeah.
Psycho Circus. Yeah, Kiss. They kissed me, and I have been cursed with the Psycho Circus my entire life.
How bad is that game?
Kiss Psycho Circus. I never really played it. Oh, I wonder if
I think it's probably Blight Club worthy.
Probably a little bit on the bubble, but
it's Mike, probably a little bit on the bubble. But imagine Mike as
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Crying out loud. I don't want to.
Oh my god. He would have. Y'all should, if you give this Blight to Mike, he should be a different Kiss member each episode.
That would be good. How long until it's just a Mickey thing? Oh, you want to be the cat one, or don't?
No, I don't want to be.
Oh,
no,
okay.
don't.
But you got that. You do the tongue thing all the time, and you could be what's his name?
My tongue is
Gene Simmons.
size.
That guy.
Yeah, he's got Gene Simmons energy, Mike Minotti.
You're more of the star child, though.
How dare you?
I saw, so I would never just call out a funny post I saw, but this one really got me. It was, if you read all 4 Kiss autobiographies, it's like Rashomon for idiots.
That's really incredible.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Good.
I am downloading a bunch of stuff from the Steam NextFest that I will be probably preparing maybe for our Friday stream. That Rough and the Riverside demo. That is that. He plays that raccoon or the tanuki that can take textures and throw it onto other things. So it's like you could pick up the grass texture, throw it on the waterfall, turn the waterfall into grass, and now you can climb up the waterfall, that sort of thing. Okay. It looks awesome. You guys should actually take a look at it because it looks amazing. Monaco 2. This one you guys should all download.
Monaco 2?
Yes. Yeah. If we can't play it now, we should try to. This is a sequel to that 4-player heist game. It's like a top-down.
Yeah.
Where you can only see line of sight, so you have to kind of communicate with one another. I think this could be a really fun one. Okay. There's a Roadcraft demo that I'm like, well, Roadcraft is definitely my most anticipated game. It's that like civil service repairing a city that's been hit by a flood or a landslide, and you got to go in there, rebuild the bridges and the roads from the Mud Runner team. And then that Despelote, that game where you just go around, just kicking the soccer ball, and like it looks like Golf Story but first person, and with a soccer ball. So bunch of cool stuff happening over there.
Last Steam NextFest demo shout out, Skin Deep. It's a first person shooter. I dig the look of this. I haven't gotten the chance to actually check it out, but I love in the description that the developer saying, "We got sneezing. We got things getting stuck to your feet," because it feels ever so slightly adjacent to tripping in a video game.
Oh, good stuff.
Yes.
A couple I got my eyes on are Promise Mascot Agency. That looks weird and interesting, and also Demon Tides, a 3D platformer that I want to say was.
Yeah. I want to try Demon Turf again. Maybe I wanted to really like that one, but couldn't get into it. But
was that a previous one?
Yeah. So
3D platformer.
Yeah, it was a 3D platformer, and it had like the characters were sprites, and it had that interesting look. This one, everything is just 3D. It still actually looks pretty good though. So
I ended up really liking Demon Turf, so I'm looking forward to this.
Cool. Yeah,
they also had a demo for that Deliver at All Costs, which Dan, you've played before, right?
Yes, I played that. It's fun and weird.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try that, and then the last one I'm downloading here is a Slice and Dice Pizza Shop Simulator.
Nice.
Where you play as a guy that like has to make pizzas, I think, but it's also a 3D beat 'em up, like a first person beat 'em up. So
beating up the dough, or like
you might be. I think you beat up the dough, and then you beat up some dopes. And I'm like,
dopes.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. Yeah, let's do that. All right, that's a bunch of demos there. Last week we decided to start another race, and we dug to the very bottom in a game about digging a hole. And I should have known we were at a disadvantage from the get-go.
Yeah.
Jeff Grubb is just adept at dirt. Grubs love
a dirt man. Put a little dirt on your pillow for the Grub man.
I almost had him.
You did almost have him.
Yeah, you were very close.
I was coming back by the end.
You were way far behind.
By the end, I was close.
But the punishment that Jeff Grubb gave the rest of us participating was to play The Thing Remastered. And Dan, you completed it.
I beat it. Turns out, there's Mike.
Oh, he's feeling better now.
Actually, this weekend, just being laid up, I beat The Thing Remastered and the first Wario Land. So a lot of just laying down, playing games this weekend. So I got thoughts on both those. But The Thing, it is ambitious and like I liked playing it. I liked the game, but I find it like more interesting than like anything. It's just like the way it was trying to do. Almost like that was kind of the era where you were seeing stuff like Full Spectrum Warrior and things where, or like the early Rainbow Sixes, where it's like ordering a squad around and things like that. And especially for like a PS2 game in 2002, doing interesting stuff like, you walk into like a murder scene and, there's just blood all over this pool table and your guy might start throwing up, or he might freak out, or he might just shoot himself. He might shoot you. And you got to like monitor their like psych levels and stuff as well as their health and giving them adrenaline shots if they're nervous, or like, if you can tell, by the way you can tell they're freaking out is hilarious because it's just the menu and you just see their face just doing it crazy. It's just like
I'm gonna do it right here for the video while you keep talking.
I can't because that's what.
Oh God! Give Grub a shot. Give Grub a shot.
Here you go. Wait, I'll do a blood test to myself. Yes.
How will adrenaline help him in this?
Listen, Mike.
He needs.
As someone who has panic attacks, adrenaline shots sound like the worst thing in that circumstance.
It definitely is.
It's fine. They'll just give that to us on the farm.
Yeah, the farm will be great.
You can also just like, let's say there's a couple guys with you and they're both just like suspicious or like they won't follow you because they don't trust you. You can give yourself a blood test in front of them, like in the movie. That's the thing is like they incorporate a lot of things from the movie. Some of them
a direct
in smart
sequel
ways.
to the movie.
Yeah, and there's fun stuff like there's a guy that it's John Carpenter's likeness. There are some cameos and stuff like that from the movie. Some of it's a little ham-fisted where it's just like, remember that line? Like there's a part where your guy goes like, let me show you what I already know. And like the main character is the biggest just dork. Like it's like this like Christian Slater sound alike, very 2002, game protagonist. But I don't know. I just thought it was such a fascinating attempt to like not just make it a straightforward action game. To like it was clearly made by people that were like, we want to like have the vibe of the movie of like how do we incorporate these ideas of not trusting your crewmates and things like that. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. There's things where it's like there's no jump and there's not even like a clamber thing. So it's very of the time where it's like, okay, I can't get into that room because there's a like box that goes up to my knees, like that type of thing. But it's fine. It's ultimately it was like 4 or 5 hours long, I would say, and really enjoyed it quite a bit. It's smart too because like the tiny little scampery critters you can just shoot and kill. But once they reach a certain size, you have to get their health down to a certain point, and then you have to use like a blowtorch or a flamethrower or flame grenade. So you do have to torch them to kill them. Like,
and your companions are very like they get in there and they do some fighting as well. And if you're shooting one, they might clean it up with the flamethrower. Like I did not find them a hassle to work with in combat.
No, there were times where it's like I would give them like you can choose what guns and ammo to give them and stuff. So it's like, all right, here, you take the shotgun, you take the flamethrower, and then like I can go and I can like go to the panel on the wall to restore the power. And while I'm doing that, they can be fighting all the little guys coming in and stuff like that. It's a cool game. I'm surprised it wasn't talked about as much back then, but I'm very glad to have played through it.
It definitely is like from this like slightly alternative timeline of like the way we make games feel bigger and have more going on is let's give like internality to the side characters and let you have to like really think about them and consider their feelings. I'm finding it interesting as well. I think I'm a little bit more than halfway through it. It runs great on Steam Deck. I'm enjoying it, and it's been very cool to just chill out with, especially. We're starting to get to a point where it's getting a little bit warmer again, but when there was still snow outside and it was like snowing nonstop for like 2.5 days here, it's a very good winter game. Obviously the thing is that entirely.
I played the whole thing on Steam Deck. It's awesome on there.
Yep.
Dan, then whose punishment was more fun? Mine or Jeff's?
What was the one I did for
Crimson Skies?
Crimson Skies? Oh boy, they were both good. I mean, they were both, if I were to review them back in the day, I think they both
loser gets a punishment. because we might turn this into a competition as well. So
I think they both would have gotten like an 8.2 on my old review scale back in the day.
Okay, well, Dead Heat. Wow.
Yeah. So
we're
I think
both good.
the thing is more interesting. I'll give it that.
Okay.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Crypt Skies is more joyful.
That's fair, I would say. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Speaking about old games, Mike, you have continued to play Day of the Tentacle.
Right. Well, so a weekend or so ago was my Maniac Mansion weekend. Right. That was my first time playing through that. Since I did that, I was like, all right, may as well play through Day of the Tentacle again. And that's a game I played through many times. Which you think would like take away the joy of such a puzzle focused game for me. But it's such a more so than any other LucasArts adventure game, even a bunch of other adventure games. It's such just a cartoon. Even the art style was very kind of Tex Avery looking, right? It's got a lot of that classic era of cartoon vibes with it. The style is great, the colors pop, and it's just a funny game. It's definitely one of the funniest that they've made. And the whole kind of gimmick is a time travel thing this time, so you still have 3 characters, but you're all at this mansion, but one is stuck 200 years in the past, and the founding fathers happen to be there, and it's an inn, and they're writing the Constitution. And another character is 200 years in the future, and over there, the tentacles have taken over and enslaved humanities, and humans are just pets. And like some of the most fun stuff is the puzzles that work with that. Like at one point in the future, there's a hamster that you need to get out of a mouse hole in the basement. So how are we going to do that? Well, in the present, you find a flyer for George's vacuum cleaners, and it says George says that every American should have a vacuum cleaner in their basement. So you send that flyer to the past so that that guy can put that flyer in the suggestion box for the Constitution so that when they read it, it says George says that every American should have a vacuum cleaner in the basement. Well, if good enough for George Washington, I guess. So then it becomes constitutional law. So then in the future, vacuum cleaner just pops up into the basement right by this mouse hole, and you get the hamster out. And like stuff
That's pretty
like that.
funny. That's good.
Wow, you're lake
so
housing
wild.
yourself.
It's so good. Like just even recounting that puzzle tickles me incredibly fancy. It's one of those games I consider just absolutely perfect. I think it's even a little bit less obtuse than these games can sometimes get. I think it's a great starting one. It was my first one. This was the one that I played, and then from there I got just totally into all of these games. And they had that remastered version that came out probably 10 years ago now. So it runs pretty much on everything. That has like newer graphics that are pretty faithful. I still rather just play with the old chunkier pixels because I'm an old head for sure. But it's great that it's everywhere. Also, has an awesome Easter egg where you go to somebody's room with a computer and you use the computer, you can just play Maniac Mansion all of a sudden on there.
How fun.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's fun.
Mike, I generally do the like chunky pixel stuff too when they do like remakes and stuff, and it reminds me of the early days of XBLA when they first started bringing like classic games back, and it's just like the most like smooth Vaseline, just like this is not like you're trying to tell it's like enhanced graphics, like no, it is not.
It sucks.
Oh god, remember they remade Turtles in Time on Xbox Live?
They took that down. Yeah, there was just a lot of that. It's like, well, now it's in lame-looking 3D models. That's better, right? Nope.
Nah.
No.
Mike, speaking about older games, I've been playing for enjoyment. I see that you have hit the vert ramp and played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Now I want to do this as well.
Yeah,
I did this because he was doing it.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm very excited about this, very obviously impending announcement for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 happening on March 4th.
Which you didn't understand either, right? We figured it out like
right
the same
away.
day.
Yeah, Three doesn't point out to me that that's 3-4 as a date.
3-4. Yep.
Very clever. Yeah, very good.
They know what they're doing there, but yeah, it's like, I'm really in the mood to play one of these. In fact, I've been in the mood for a bit. That's why I bought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 for my PS2 not too long ago. But with this, I'm like, it'd be really easy just to play 1 and 2. It's, just on my PlayStation 5. So whatever, let's do it. And boy, that game is just still so fun. Just so nice playing through it. It's just so easy to always jump back into it. I love just going through there and being like, this level is probably like a 9 out of 10 level. Ooh, this one's a 7 out of 10, right? Like I start ranking the levels as I play it. The soundtrack, phenomenal. I mean, those games are just ones I'm going to be going back to intermittently throughout the rest of my life, and always have a good time.
I watch you streaming it a little bit, and it's just the second all I have to do is just see you like skating around the school or the warehouse, and I'm just like happy. It's just like, oh hell yes, and like
it's home.
And you're right in that, like, I just want to play even that one right now. Like 1 and 2, I went crazy on it when it first came out, and I haven't really touched it much since then. I'm sure it's great every time I pick it up. And oh god, 3 and 4, I'm just gonna devour.
I haven't done much of the multiplayer in 1+2, so
I would like to play horse. I want to play horse.
I want to do a bunch of the modes. Like I like just doing like score attack and who can get the best score in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
the
that's
graffiti
fun.
Did you get into like the skate park creation stuff very much?
Not
ever in the
much.
series?
I tried.
Like the first time it showed up, like when all we were doing is going over to my friend's house after school and playing Tony Hawk nonstop for hours. Like, yeah, we kind of milked that game for all it was worth, including making a couple of skate parks ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Mike did mention that it would be fun to do a race when we're ready for another punishment thing. To do a like, what do you think, Mike? Just beat one.
Like beat Pro Next Toe Skater 1, yeah, because like it's pretty good because you don't have to get all the objectives.
Yeah.
Pick
and choose.
That's right. I was going to say I'm so bad at like doing some of those like very obscure ones, but
wouldn't have to do all of them.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Not every hidden tape or anything. Yeah,
you could just go for the score challenges.
That's how I always do those. Is first run on every level is I'm just going to try to go crazy with a score, and that'll get pro sick. Yeah.
Man,
I always get I get the attribute point things first, right?
Ooh, those are important.
I can't like calm down or focus on a level unless I get all of those things.
Sure. And you also just want to explore and just see like, okay, what's the layout here? I was never as big on the ones
run over me.
Yeah, like the mall and stuff. I was never as big on the ones where
I
it's just
like
a
those.
run. They're good. It's all good, but like I like the open ones.
I like the mall fine, but I don't like downhill jam. I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 had it figured out with the airport where you have a little bit in the beginning, and then at the end you're kind of in like a hangar, and then it just becomes a bit more like a normal level again. That feels
I would just grind around the baggage claim for like a minute and a half after the time runs out, just padding my score out. Yeah.
Oh, so good. God, Tony 3 is my favorite. I'm so excited just for like that remake. God.
I think the best adjustment to Tony Hawk is probably as you are grinding, you just buttoning out to switch to a different grind.
Double tap and square.
You can do that, you can do that for manuals as well.
Yeah, the pogo sticks and all that. I would go crazy with that shit. Yeah.
I'm still a sicko. I like to jump and like do some kind of a flip trick before I change my grind. Every time.
I always do every single time. Mike, you mentioned that like it's up there with Mario 64 in terms of just like, oh yeah, this is just the best feeling game. And like it's aged so fucking well. Yeah.
It's just, it always just feels amazing. It's just video games to me, right? Absolutely.
Mike, you're probably the most fighting game person here. The muscle memory that I kick into for Tony Hawk, because like I think I can play that game with my eyes closed and just button out the combos and kind of have the feel for it. Is that similar to how a fighting game kind of clicks in?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like it was funny how it happened when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 when that collection came out. A game I probably hadn't really played for a good 5, 6, maybe more years, 10 years even, at least in a serious way. But it's just immediately like, oh yeah, you do this to cancel into that, and then this guy comes out. Yeah, it all comes flowing back.
What if instead of checking out Steam NextFest demos, we just played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
I mean, there's no law.
Well, no, because I'm out with more dental shit Friday, so you got to save Tony Hawk for me.
Oh, so he'll automatically lose and get the next punishment.
No.
Oh,
no, not another fun game I have to play.
No. Man, March 4th's a week today. Do you think there's a chance that that's like a shadow drop? Are we
There's
playing
a chance.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 this time next week?
We'll talk about it. There's a small chance, but they probably have a small gap between when they announce it and when they release it.
If they have a small gap, I'm going to do a kickflip over it.
Cosbot says playing Tony Hawk 3 on a GameCube controller really fucked me up. It's like I can adjust like whether I'm playing on an 8-bit do or I'm playing
controller
on
was the wrong one.
That's the thing. It's like with Tony Hawk, that is the one I'm super precious about. Like the idea of playing Tony Hawk on a 64 or a GameCube, or even like I know people like the Dreamcast version, but like I cannot imagine with the Dreamcast D-pad playing that. That is a PlayStation thing for me.
I remember when Tony Hawk 2X came out as like an Xbox launch game. It felt a little weird. And
on the Duke. I played it on the Duke, and I got infuriated. I was so mad because I'm like, you cannot go from a jump into a grind because these other buttons are slanted in the way.
The slanting was insane.
Oh, I hated it.
Like, how dare they? I
The
did play.
N64 didn't bother me because I would just use the C buttons, and it was like, oh, this is perfect. They're all right there. I could get to them, so it didn't bother me.
The music
not
stuff,
great on N64
but the music stuff too.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm not the games themselves for sure.
Yeah. I'm
The
such a
controller just
GameCube,
didn't bother me.
such a GameCube freak that I still enjoy playing Tony Hawk on the GameCube. But
I mean,
the D-pad sucks on that thing, so it is a little weird. You have to use the analog stick, and that's just kind of weird for Tony Hawk.
Going from one sport to another, Jeff Grubb, you've been playing PGA Tour 2K25.
Yeah, this is out in a couple of days. I think there's an early access version right now that I'm playing, and it is a lot like PGA Tour 2K24. But you know what? There are some changes. I think, honestly, I've been conflating. There's this and another golf game that's been coming out recently. Maybe it's the EA one. I think I've been playing the 2K ones, though. So I do think these are improvements. So for a while now, for a very long time now, to me, this is still new, but I'm an old man. And I remember doing the 3-button presses for golf, and that's golf games to me. But for like 20 years now, they've been doing the analog stick, like you have the golden tee rolling a ball thing. It's very similar.
The Tiger Woods thing, the analog down up.
Tiger Woods down up, and in the recent 2K games, they're very much like, okay, if you want to play it on the normal default mode, you got to do like a smooth backswing, a smooth upswing. You got to get the timing right. There's all these little elements, just like a golf swing. It's it does a good job of approximating that. Getting the timing right was always the big trouble spot for me. So what they've done this time, and honestly, maybe this was here, but now it's much more noticeable in the UI. There is a circle that your swing exists in as you start to pull back. You could see it on the screen. And as you start the swing, a tinier like outline of a circle begins to grow inside of that circle, and once it hits the kind of power setting that you set as like your intention for the swing, that's when you want to begin the upswing. And as long as you get the timing on that right, everything else kind of just falls into place. Then it's like, okay, how straight did you pull back? How straight did you press forward? Did you get it inside the cone where it's like it's not going to go way off to the side? And then inside that cone, did you get it on the little nub in there where it's going to be a perfect shot? So it's just visually very much easier to know what you're supposed to do with your swing. It's still difficult because it's a golf swing and it's supposed to be difficult, but it's much easier to actually grok what is happening. And I really appreciate that. It's already made it a much more enjoyable game for me as someone who wants to jump in there, play around on, the Corn Ferry like tour, like leading up to the PGA Tour or whatever. And it's been, it's really working for me. It has all the other stuff like, hey, it looks fantastic, sounds nice. The announcers are talking constantly, but I don't find them annoying or anything like that. It's, I think this really works as a golf game now.
I wonder if I should try that because, I have historically liked golf games. It's like boxing. I like golf and boxing games way more than I like the actual sports. And I do prefer the Tiger style swing to the Hot Shots Mario Golf 3-tap thing. I like them both. They're both great, but I love just the kind of emulating the feeling of the back and forth swing. So maybe I should try this. Is EA still doing the Rizzy McAfee thing, or is that
they have not?
It's what Tiger turned into.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy. Yeah,
yes.
He was on one of those, but I think the most recent one did not have Rizzy on there, and that did just happen last year or the year before that. So yes, EA is doing their golf game as well, and it's very similar, very close. It has the Masters, a few things you can't get in this game because EA we're going to go get the rights for these things and make them exclusive to our game. But both these games are pretty close in terms of features. I think I do prefer the 2K one. And I was thinking, I'm playing it. I'm like, I know we're talking about Tony Hawk and a bunch of other things. I would like to do a stream where we just do a couple of rounds of golf. I think that'd be fun.
Would love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we could set that up. Maybe that could be a Jeff Grubb gimmick.
Yeah.
I know tons of things about golf now. That you got your clubs, your wedges, your drivers. Speaking about drivers, Jeff Grubb, I've heard from you, driving is hard.
It's beautiful, Chan. Yes, this is another Grubb game. This is a getting over it, in that genre of.
This is what you were talking about.
Yes, and instead of this one being one where it's hey, climbing is hard, or you're going to be in a pot and pushing yourself up, or now it's that, but with a now you can do it in VR. All of these things really exist. Or the one where I played as a pumpkin that was rolling, trying to jump up a bunch of stuff. This one, you're in a little 4x4 bathtub. I mean, literally it's a bathtub with springy wheels. Honestly, it looks a lot like the car from the cover of Stunt Race FX.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I definitely like that a lot. This is cool. This is good. If you don't like those kinds of games, getting over it, you're not going to like this. But if you are into those sorts of things or enjoy watching streamers play them, This one I think really works because it's all about just those 4 wheels and the physics of like, okay, this one's got to roll over this rock. It's going to push me to the side, and there's the giant chasm. Can I find a way to like sort of turn into this like little cliff here so I can get up there and immediately like reestablish myself without like being too chaotic so I don't suddenly just fall off. And then of course you get a little bit higher, and now the narrow little track's got 50 little mines everywhere, and you got to just try to drive the path so your wheels go like over them or between them.
Okay.
And then now here's a giant mine at the end, and how are you going to deal with that? You have a jump button, so if you tap the jump, you do a little jump. You hold the jump, you do a higher jump and longer, and eventually you'll get to points where, okay, I'm at this ramp, and I think it wants me to jump way like 50 feet in that direction, and it's like, yep, that's what I was supposed to do, and it feels really good to like land that and immediately hit the brake and just be like, okay, shwoo. And I've played for a couple, like maybe an hour now. I've had like, I stopped after a really, really, really big fall because I got to a red light, green light situation that I did not know was a red light, green light situation. When it turned red, the ground I was on, because I just kept going, gave way, and I fell, I think 1,000 meters.
Oh God.
So yeah, it's good. I think I got about a fifth of the way up, and I'm really enjoying it. But again, like people know if these games are for them or not, and if it's not for you, this is not going to change that.
Was this a demo or was this a out?
I think this is shootout now.
Okay,
yeah,
I want to try that out.
Yeah, I think I do think this is one that like, oh, it's a good spin on it because I think the driving physics, the car physics are really good.
Cool.
Nice. Gosh, so many options for things to stream out, huh? Mike Minotti, I see that you took a visit to the museum, the 2 Point Museum.
Yeah, so these 2 Point games that have been popping off not too long ago are sort of the spiritual successors to those theme games like Theme Park, Theme Hospital, Theme Aquarium. I haven't really dived into them yet, but I like museums a lot. I especially like natural history museums. That's kind of the main focus here. So yeah, it's one of those simulation games, and you have a museum, and you kind of you have to like hire the workers, you have to place exhibits and decorations, all stuff. But the loop is very good, and it's also very easy. Like the tutorialization almost felt kind of non-existent. It just ramps up the complexity in a very natural, sensical way. Where you have a museum and you have a helipad outside, and you can send workers out on expeditions to go find exhibits, right? And then when you get the exhibit, you need to place it. You need to put like good decorations and also sort of like info stuff. And then based on how how entertaining the exhibit is and how informative it is, then you'll get donations. So you have to place little donation boxes around strategically as well. So it kind of just feeds into this loop of making money from that and ticket sales and concessions and your gift shop, so that you can then have more expeditions. You can go out and get bigger exhibits. And some of the big things like giant dinosaur skeletons, like maybe you come back with a part of it and you have to go on more expeditions to get all of that. But it's just very intuitive and very easy laying stuff out, especially like the special rooms. Like, oh, you need to make a break room for your workers. So it's just this drag and drop tile thing. And it's like, okay, now place, the couch and place the snack stand in there, and voila, it's a pretty good looking break room. Same thing with the gift shop and whatnot. You're also eventually managing multiple museums. Like the first one, very clearly natural history, and the second one is more of an aquarium. So there's a lot, different
that's fun.
decorations, and it's like, okay, now you have to set up the water tank again. Very easy drag and drop on the grid-based thing. So now you're sending out your people to oceans to get different fish to put in there. So yeah, it's just like the loop is very satisfying, and it's just also very easy, right? Sometimes these games can kind of feel complicated and overwhelming. As much as I like Planet Coaster, right, which I do a lot, even like Planet Zoo, those games can be pretty complicated. This is a lot more chill and a lot more approachable, where I was feeling, dare I say, very cozy playing with this game. Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to say that?
I will. I liked this a lot, actually. I was really impressed.
You got this in Fantasy Critics. I don't know if we could trust your opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. The reviews are already out. So don't worry. I can't influence anything there. I didn't write a review either. I'm just telling you all here right now that I think that this actually kind of rules. Especially if like when Animal Crossing New Horizons, my favorite part of the entire game was the museum. Not even so much finding stuff for it, but just walking around in there. I just like the vibes of a museum. So this game's nothing but those vibes. There's also like a bit of humor. Like there's constantly people talking over the loudspeakers and they're saying funny things, or you're listening to a radio show that's kind of funny. So it's just some good background aesthetics going on as well. But yeah, like, if you haven't jumped into any of these yet, I think this is going to be a really good one to get into. Very
I
chill.
really want to play this. I just don't need another game right now.
Super approachable.
Like how detailed, how up close can you get to like the aquarium exhibits? Can you go in there? Are there meeps, and can I show off the meeps to my children?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, part of me is like, maybe not too close. Maybe I haven't tried getting closer.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do the thing where you pick on a character, you start looking at it through their eyes.
Right, for the first person from their perspective.
You know me. I consider myself God, so I like looking down on all the tiny people.
That's just in
Honestly,
general.
I feel bad for even asking you what the little people are seeing.
Right, exactly. So I'm not sure, but you definitely do collect meeps, right? Even sometimes it's like, okay, there is more depth there for sure. Where to go to this area to do an excavation, I need a worker who has like this, I don't know, deep science skill or something like that. So I can either hire somebody with that, or I can make a training room and train somebody to do that. Little things like that. And it seems like there's a good amount of other museums. The next thing we're going to do is actually build some kind of spooky museum. I don't know what that entails. That sounds like that's going to be fun too. This is more of the campaign. There is just a full-on sandbox mode too that I haven't really dug into, which is going to be a bit more freeform. But I'm enjoying this campaign. It's onboarding me really nice, and it still feels like I'm immediately playing the game. It's not just this is the tutorial and
that's
this is
good.
being done for me. Yeah.
There's a penis museum in Iceland.
Yeah. Do they have? Is that where they got Rasputin's penis?
I didn't see. I went there and I did not see Rasputin's penis. They have like just.
You
like,
would know Rasputin's penis if you saw it.
I know
so.
Rasputin's penis when I see it. Yes.
Right.
No, they got. It's a good museum. A lot of dicks in there.
Yeah. Like, just even some of the touches, right? So
even more when you were there.
We were having a good time.
Oh my god, guys!
Oh god damn it!
But like, even like, also, like you need to be informative to like keep your museum rating high. But like, once kids start showing up, they don't care about plaques. So you have to start researching interactive exhibits and things like that, right? So like, oh god, this is just all fun, and because of the decorations, and everything, like you could, glizzy stuff up pretty good in there. I like getting into that whole decorating vibe. Put a waterfall here, a nice fountain there. Make sure the skeleton's over here. And that, I don't know, just into it. I'm into it, everybody. I'm just gonna get into the museum game now. I think I'm gonna open up a museum.
You know what you should do?
Okay.
The best museums are the ones where it's like super like sciencey interactive, where it's like, here's the big tornado thing.
Yep.
Here's the optical illusion
You're
rooms.
talking about the stuff I was just talking about that I had to make for the children in my fake museum. But yeah.
Those are my favorite museums. Yes.
You're right. They are great.
I got to stay the night in one of those as a kid in Boy Scouts, and it was I still think about it all the time. It was
cool.
So much fun. It was so cool.
I like the museums where they just give you pieces of chocolate everywhere. That's really
that
good.
was a good one.
I mean, the chocolate museum.
I enjoyed
What are you
that.
talking about?
I thought he was talking about some like predator coming like here, Jen, here's some chocolate.
Trying to teach you about beans. I'm just trying to eat my chocolate.
They're not trying to teach you about beans. They're just presenting the knowledge.
I accidentally learned about
right.
beans.
And then
That's
nothing
literally
happened from
you.
1945 to.
The game's like, now children won't read plaques, so they need interactive exhibit. That was literally Dad. He wouldn't read the plaque.
I was all about the thing where you put money in it to make a weird disco happen. Remember, I just wanted chocolate to make a disco happen. Yeah,
You won that day.
did. Yeah.
My favorite museum bits is when you throw like a quarter in, and it's like a little cyclone or like a tornado, and it's just going around. I'm like, man, if I could be that quarter right now.
Man, they used to have the gimmick at Taco Bell where you put the quarter in and you rotate the thing in the water and you try to catch the quarter on it and you get a free, cinnamon
hard
thing.
taco or something.
Yeah.
Gosh, we need to bring so many things back. The last game on the docket here is a big one. It is Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh, that baby game?
So I saw the review scores pop out yesterday. Pretty positive across the board. Big get for fucking Lucy James and our fantasy critic.
Yeah,
So
she's
mad. And I was thinking this when I checked it out originally a couple months ago when I visited Capcom in Osaka, and I thought that, wow, I've gotten very good at video games now. I'm really good at this game. And I didn't want to entertain the thought that perhaps they've scaled the difficulty back ever so slightly to continue to attract a wider audience. And folks,
That's
gentlemen,
exactly what they did.
I think that's what they did.
Yeah, they did that.
Yeah, I definitely haven't died yet in this Monster Hunter.
I haven't
That's-
either, and also the open world part of it is just like I'm no Monster Hunter expert, but like the ones I played, I remember it's like, man, there's this like vast open world with these like zones and stuff like that, and there's more of an exploration focus, or it's like I'm 4 hours in, and so far most of my getting around has been like autopilot on top of an ostrich while I'm like
Right.
throwing a slingshot at berries that I don't know what they do. So it's like it's kind of dumbed down and simplified in a lot of ways, but also it is still confusing in that way to like me as someone who doesn't know a lot about Monster Hunter. I'm constantly like, what does that do? How do I apply that to my slingshot?
Sure.
What are these 16 things I picked up on this ride? Like it's not I kind of think they're failing on that front of like appealing to newer people, you know?
Because
Well,
there's a lot of
gradient.
stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can engage with, but it doesn't like take it away from your eyeballs, and it just like, hey, you could go get this like slitter nut or something to throw it.
I'm sorry.
I
You
swear
heard the
that's
man.
what it was called.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, that's the first place my brain went. It's been a day. And you can engage with it, and it will take up so much space in your inventory, but some of that may not even apply unless you're engaging with like different ammo types for the other like projectile based weapons, or getting into the trapping. And in my experience with this game so far, about like 10-ish hours in, I haven't really had to do that because I'm kind of just slamming through with my hammer.
Well, it's
Yeah,
so
it's not hard to just go fight these things and kill them, but like I don't know if everyone's like this, but when I am presented with systems in a game, I don't want to like, even if someone says like, "Oh, don't worry about it," it's like, well, hang on, they put it in. I'd like to understand this, you know. And you know, they try to make even like the weapon selection thing is such a big thing. Is there are so many weapons that are so convoluted where it's like, you know, all these different forms and stuff, and there's ones that are good for beginners. And so I talked to Alma, and she's like, "Okay, so do you want to get in close, or do you want to do this? Do you want to have defense, or do you want mobility?" And I answered all this stuff, and I picked the insect glaive based on everything I chose. And then I was like confused by it. And I saw a bunch of people in chat being like, "Oh, you picked the most confusing weapon." It's like, well, wait, there's this fucking built-in thing that's supposed to teach me here's the one that's good for you. And then it recommended me, a relative newcomer, the most complicated one. It's just like there's a lot of stuff that I'm just not loving the way it's presenting
Sure.
itself. And it's not making it any less confusing for me, you know?
So, what is your guys' experience with the series previously? Dan, I know you like reviewed one when you felt you weren't qualified, and then you
Yes.
played World and liked it. Is that the
I played
background?
like 50 plus hours of World. I did enjoy it. That's definitely the one I enjoyed the most. I reviewed Monster Hunter 3 Tree for the Wii and had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And then
Gotta be try.
yeah. So I'd say pretty much just Worlds, because I heard that was the one that was supposed to be welcoming to newcomers, and I can see the quality there. It's obviously really good games, but god damn it, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
How
Yeah.
about you guys?
I,
checked out Mike, you go first, please.
I intermittently, but then Rise was the one I played a lot of.
Dipped my toes into some of the Wii ones, but never really got into it. But then Worlds is where I got the taste, and then I did check out a lot of Rise.
My understanding in Monster Hunter is these monsters have specific like weaknesses that you need to prepare for, and you need to like build up your basically your inventory before you head out. Make sure you have plenty of healing items, and a big part of the hunt is preparing for the hunt. And in this game, what I hear from people is, well, all that stuff is just on your ostrich. So whenever you're in a rough situation, just roll back 10 feet, go talk to your bird. Your bird will hook you up again, and then get right back in the fight. So you can kind of brute force your way through here, and that's where a lot of the streamlining has happened for the Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
like,
and
a loop.
I feel that there's like some of that in Rise, because you also had the mount, and you know, I think it used to be sort of a bigger deal when you had to sharpen your weapon, because like, oh, that takes a while. When are you going to do that? Well, now you push a button, you're on your mount, you're 50 yards away already. You sharpen your weapon, and you just jump off and get back to it. Yeah, like it's definitely. And part of me wonders, because I'm still deep in the campaign. That was one of my worries about the game going into it. Was like, this is going to be a lot of just playing this campaign for a while, and they're going to be really worried about the cinematics. And Is it's going to kind of like, really lead me from one thing to the other. And the campaigns won me over in some ways. Like a bunch of characters I thought I would never care about, I do care about a little bit. But
Sure.
it is also, like there seems like all these systems and all this stuff in this giant world, and yet I am mostly just like auto moving from one monster or one cutscene to another, and you get to the monster, and like the monsters still look incredible, and fighting them is fun. But yeah, it's I have big sword, I swing big sword. Even you could carry two weapons now, right? So
Yeah.
I could change my bow and arrow. I'm not even doing that ever because why do I need to? I just swing big sword. Now I bet a lot of people are like, well, the real game starts after you beat the campaign 40 hours later or something like that. I'm like, that's nice. I wish the real game started like when the game started. I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't gotten the chance to do much co-op at all yet, but I'd still be interested to see how that shakes out with y'all.
I'll try it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I'm
do.
sure
We
it's
need to play
fun.
some of it. Yeah.
And I don't want
Yeah.
to give the impression I think this is some like disappointing game. I having, again, the
Oh.
fighting monsters is still a lot of fun, and that is mostly what you are doing here. Part of me is like, man, is this open world approach to it a slam dunk? Because you do sort of see like some of the compromises that come from that. Again, like the performance stuff, that's still a bit of an issue here. Maybe not as bad as it was in those betas or those stress tests or whatever that they were. But is it as pretty as maybe even World was in some ways? Maybe not. And I kind of miss a little bit of that feeling of like, okay, I'm preparing for the hunt and like I'm going to pick my specific meal and eat it at the Palico place and stuff like that. There's still like that cooking system is there. Even then, I get a little confused by it because you just like make a camp and you eat, and the effect just seems to last for a certain amount of time. It's not just something you do before each hunt. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I got a couple questions there that I can't necessarily easily find answers for. Yeah, it is just like this weird combination of like certain things being streamlined and then other things still being confusing. And I know what Dan means, where it's like I feel like I'm not missing anything non-engaging by some of those systems, but that also feels weird to me.
Feels unnecessarily bloated with stuff that it makes it confusing as to what systems you do have to engage with.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, the way I play these games is like, Dan, I see those systems and I'm like, I'm just going to kind of keep pressing forward and I'm going to get to a point where it's like something clicks and be like, oh, okay, that's what matters to me. And so far, I haven't played a ton, maybe an hour, but it's like been a situation where I'm like, no, that hasn't really happened. I just keep focusing on those wounds. I keep blasting those wounds off.
Yeah.
I go back to camp. I see what I can craft and then I go back out again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm coming at this game from a very different perspective than veteran Monster Hunter players, and I'm enjoying all of my time.
I think it's a good, like everyone who even has criticisms says this is a good
it's
game.
a good game.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just like the
game for sure.
criticisms are like, I think just sticking in people's craw who have a history with this series a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's a series that I think I've accepted, I respect, and it might not just be for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the part that always kind of put me off from the other Monster Hunter games that I checked out is that the hunts felt way too long and bloated in a way where like, all right, that guy's pretty much dead. He doesn't need to run away from me here and just go to a different zone. And I don't know, I kind of always felt like the sharpening gimmick felt a little clunky. So I do like just being able to jump onto my ostrich lizard friend and like, all right, I need a quick break. I need a phone break. I'm just going to go check my phone while we go chase the monster here.
I think the hunch I have here, and I think this is like backed up by the way this has worked for Monster Hunter in the past, is a lot of the streamlining that they have, like that you just described, Jan, will factor into like a new kind of difficulty that gets introduced in post-launch content and DLC stuff. And it'll be kind of feel like the real definitive version will be whatever version of this game exists, after that DLC comes out. So we'll see. In the meantime, I bet, that Monster Hunter Reddit is probably going to be a lot of fun while they try to all decide how they feel about it and probably mostly have a knee-jerk bad reaction, I think, to some of these things.
We've been there with, I'm not trying to like say, oh, like, those opinions are invalid, but the Monster Hunter community has been there for
every time.
There's a whole bunch of them that are like, no, Monster Hunter 4, blah, 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 on the Switch is the real one. And I was like, there's another Monster Hunter on Switch besides Rise? Like, I didn't even know that existed, right?
Oh, what?
Yeah, exactly. So,
I learned about the Monster Hunter community when I reviewed 3 for a week. Give it a 7, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bet they loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, I definitely think it's a good game. I think I'm going to really have fun when I'm past the campaign and it is like more doing some of these harder hunts and really trying to like hunt and get craft materials for specific upgrades. And I'm maybe playing with a group of people and
Yeah.
maybe it is more just running around the open. I think that's the thing too, is like the open world does almost feel a little bit wasted in the early hours with this big narrative focus of it where you're just kind of like, yeah, you leave your camp, and again the camp doesn't look as cool as some of the previous camps because it's like so much more of a pop-up, like we're on an expedition, so here's just a few tents, as opposed to, here's a
Yeah.
kitchen on a giant T-Rex's backbone, like in World.
With a
It's like,
Zeppelin or something, like some huge
Yeah.
airship. Yeah.
right, it's like, okay, so well they do that because, yeah, so now you're part of the world here, but it's like you leave and you just auto run to an objective. I'm like, well, if the game had just faded to black and then unfaded from black and I was kind of close to the monster, what would have been lost here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. That being said, I did the thing that the couple Monster Hunter games I've played. I'm gonna try out a new weapon, and I just default back to the hammer, and I'm having a fantastic
That's
time
fine. Yeah.
with the hammer. I do want to check out the hunting horn though. If I'm gonna be playing with y'all, buff y'all, just play some jams while y'all are slamming away at the monster and whatnot.
Jams. Nice.
Yeah.
I do keep part of it is like seeing the hunting horn, but also I've been listening to a lot of that trailer 3 for Tears of the Kingdom. I do keep going to Amazon. I'm like, I should just buy an alto saxophone again because I know how to play it, and I could learn how to play that song, and that would make me very happy.
Do that. And I'll be like those people in the background going, the future.
You could play. You could do the Blues Brothers theme. You could do that.
I suppose I could do the blues. Do you mean Respect?
Yeah, or one of the other 3 looping songs in that game.
I don't recognize as much as Respect. Yeah.
Rubber Biscuit, I think, is in there. Yeah.
I'm a little surprised. Like, I don't mean to sound so down on Monster Hunter Wilds. I am enjoying it.
Fuddy Duddy.
I was the real fuddy duddy on Monster Hunter here for sure. I am enjoying it, and I definitely I largely agree with all the positive reviews in a lot of ways. It's just I think there's definitely some refinement to be done to this open world take on it. So
I think if you were sorry, Grub. I think if you have ever been Monster Hunter curious, this is the perfect jumping on point.
Oh yeah.
Because of how streamlined and simplified some of the systems are. Like you can engage with it as much as you want to, or you can kind of ignore it.
I do wish that when I was like kind of first looking at the menus, it was just a little bit easier to understand what the fuck I'm looking at, and doing online multiplayer. While we did figure it out, I think that could be even more streamlined. If we're talking about the streamlined Monster Hunter, I think they could have done an even better job with that than they did.
Last thing here is not a game, but it's because I Ron Burgundied and forgot about everything we have to talk about. If it's not on the run of show, I'm gonna just play this real quick. Can y'all hear that?
No.
It's perfect. They can hear it at home.
Perfect.
We have an announcement. Some stuff has been going on.
Pre-announcement thing. Basically just kind of clearing up, like there have been some allusions in the last week or so to like doing things a little differently here. And
we've been running tests on the website, which have been just tests. And I think that's caused people to ask questions that we kind of have half answers to and more fully formed answers that we will get to in due time.
Exactly. Brad has already left.
Yes.
Brad is gone. Brad Shoemaker he works at Nextlander now. Yeah. Yes. So yes, whenever there's allusions to changes, everyone freaks out and has their theories about stuff. So let's clear up what we can right now about Giant Bomb.
Right. You're even like saying changes, and it's like that is not even the right word. Like
no, it's just because here's the thing. We are working towards like a new streaming schedule. We've also alluded to like a billion meetings in recent months, and that's been about this. So there's going to be a new schedule, but all of the shows that we do now are not changing. So like Bombcast, The Dump Truck, Blight Club, UPF, all those things have been around forever. We're still doing those shows. There might be some slight like branding things and stuff that like switch around with some stuff, but nothing like as far as like the format of the shows and the content and the crew and stuff for the most part is all going to be the same. So don't worry. It's just going to be an additive thing where the general idea is a block of time each weekday where our channels are live. And when I say I say, GameSpot, Giant Bomb, they will be live, YouTube, Twitch, from X to X. Again, these are the things that there are certain things that are TBD, but in general, you can set your watch to, once we have it set, if you tune in to one of our channels between this hour and this hour, something will be live, whether it's the Bombcast or Dump Truck or new shows. And it'll be a mix of things with Giant Bomb personalities, GameSpot personalities, sometimes a mixture of the two. But nothing's getting canceled or changed or anything like that. If anything, there's going to be more content. Grub and I were talking a lot yesterday about some stuff we're really excited about, things with this format that will allow us to kind of be a little more experimental with just like weird stuff we want to try out, and have dedicated time where we can just kind of have this play place where it's like, okay, here's, where Grub's got his time and he can do stuff that he's interested in. And I can, with my time, I can do a Hyrule Hustle or just play a few games that I want to catch up on. So
more
all
shows,
this stuff.
though.
Yeah, more shows and just basically a set your watch to a stream schedule type thing. We will have more details to that in the coming weeks, but that is the thing that we've been working towards. So that's it.
One programming note that will be starting as part of these shifts and stuff is Game Mess Mornings, which I'll just tell you now, we're going to change the name of that here pretty soon. Don't freak out about that. Honestly, I want to do this because I would like to get the Game Mess name out of Giant Bomb. That's going to be good for me. We'll be changing the name of that, and the timing of that will shift from 11 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. So that's 9 a.m. Pacific. So I'm sorry if you were drive time Pacific. If you were listening to that driving into work, I'm sorry, but this is just going to be a little bit better because we want to go right into a bunch of other stuff, and people are West Coast, and that's going to be a little bit easier for them to do that when we start just 1 hour later.
Yeah, when I allude to like branding changes and stuff, I am talking about like changing the name of Game Mess Mornings.
That's going to be the most drastic change.
Yes, I've also been in favor of that anyway. So I'm like,
yes, exactly.
Also, we can't call it Game Mess Mornings if we're pushing it back an hour, because then for the East Coast folks, that'll be the afternoon. So
that's true.
Game
that's illegal.
Yeah.
They'll illegal. Shoot me.
Yes. We're not calling it Gaming Lunch.
Can we say that? I like the name. I like the new show.
Gaming Lunch.
I might just incorporate that into the intro, which, by the way, we got some music I need to run by you, Jan. So
no. I've heard it. I've heard it.
Okay.
I didn't give my notes, but it's fantastic. The person doing that, that made that, wow. Well, they should make more music. They should do music.
More music.
Okay, I'll send them a trophy or something.
Yeah.
No, they don't deserve a trophy.
Maybe
about it. You guys like my tin whistle thing that much? Jeez.
But yes, also you'll see familiar faces other than our faces.
Like Nikki, Sean, Mike. All of, like, I'm talking about getting them involved even more. Like, we kind of already tap out Mike's time, but Nikki and Sean for sure. We're gonna get them on more stuff and get them more involved. So yeah.
Perhaps other faces that you have seen across the internet as well, other than the Giant Bomb GameSpot. Oof. Did I use that word right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, sure, that works.
All right.
Moose
cool.
Boosh, yeah.
Yes. We unfortunately cannot get rid of Nikki and Sean. They're hop-ons and they won't leave now.
Yeah, they're fully integrated now.
Yeah.
If we pull them out, the whole Jenga tower falls apart now.
It's true.
Yes. Also, I mean, we have to do Ochoaniki.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Soon. Where
Choaniki.
What was that a play on again?
Yeah, what?
Choniki?
So, do you guys know Choaniki? The Muscleman, the oiled up Muscleman shooter game?
No, but if that's the name of it, then that makes sense for Ocho and Nikki. Okay, we should do that. Yeah.
So Janet Choa and Nikki Grayson are going to play a Choaniki, and we're going to call it a Choaniki. And I want that to happen as soon as possible.
All right.
Also, another, here's the stuff with the new schedule. Part of it is boring update. It makes it easier for us to schedule our stuff, which means it might be easier for if I've got my slot every week and I got a couple hours, well, I could decide to do demo derbies more often because it'll be more set your watch to the schedule type thing.
Dan's little realm he can control and do what he wants with.
Exactly. And we can all kind of do that. And I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, really just might sound like different. What we're really just talking about is we're going to have these slots, and then there's going to be a bunch of support in the background. That's where all the moving parts comes from. That will just happen automatically because of this new schedule. That's why it's been so hard to set up and why we've been testing things. But once it's all in place, it's going to be a lot more, functional for us.
The GameSpot homies have also been cooking up some beautiful art, let's say, and I cannot wait for everyone to get their eyes on it, coming from the beautiful minds of the GameSpot homies, because it is fun stuff. I can't wait for y'all to get incorporated as well as the weeks and months go by. Also, we'll also be able to get a fun look at the SF studio because it is gorgeous. And John Luke and company have done a fantastic job at setting it up. Folks, I need another quick cup of coffee. So we're going to take a bricky break and we'll be back with the news right after this. This is a news with Jeff Grubb. Before we get to the news, Grubb,
What's
can
that?
I ask y'all something?
Oh yeah, please.
Should we do a BCR where we kind of do we throw a bunch of JRPGs into a hat, pick them out randomly, and then we deem whether or not Tony Hawk as a whole is better than them?
Oh
Yeah, that sounds like a great
I
idea.
will
I
not
can
be
tell
a
you how
part
that's
of
going to
it.
go already.
Huh?
Just
Tony Hawk's
yes.
better than all of them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
I think
all right.
people will love this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Maybe
this will
Mike.
get some eyeballs.
I'm
Mhm.
going to start the red thread on this one.
All right, Jeff Grubb, the news.
Yeah, hey, let's start with hey, this is better than a JRPG. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 has been rated in Singapore. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 rated in Singapore for multiple platforms, and it's listed as a 2025 release. That's this year. A full reveal, we know we're expecting something because they have teased something on the Tony Hawk website and inside Call of Duty for March 4th, which is 3/4/25. Also,
no.
I heard last year apparently about this, and it was 3 and 4 the whole time. So not Thug 1, 2, not some new game. It's always been 3 and 4. So yeah, I think I am very much expecting this to happen. And when it does, what is your guys' expectation for? Does this thing shadow drop? Do we get it a few weeks later, a few months later? What are you guys thinking?
I saw someone in chat say that March 4th is the next Game Pass drop, which, the fact that Microsoft has also been like responding to the tweets and stuff. I don't want to get excited about that because I don't know.
Well, Microsoft owns Tony Hawk now, so yeah, it would just be in Game Pass.
Yeah, Shadow Drop seems crazy though. I mean, I was optimistically thinking maybe a couple months or something.
Yeah, I think the rumors leading into the last batch before we actually got this tease were saying summer, like it's going to happen in the summer. So hopefully that means early summer, and that means like May or something like that. I don't want to wait too long. I want to play this game right now.
Yes, I might play 1 and 2 tonight.
Yeah, I might do that also.
After Mike started up, I immediately, like while he was streaming, got it going on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play some of that. I'm going to do some of the multiplayer, things like that. 1+2, fantastic game. We still don't know who is making 3+4. There's a lot of questions yet to be answered. But
Isn't Iron Galaxy's just logo on the website right now? Isn't it them?
is it? Oh, I didn't see that. I
Yeah,
guess that wouldn't be too surprising.
Yeah, Iron Galaxy seems like it's them. Yeah, because even
okay.
the countdown clock just has their logo.
Very cool. All right. Well, then there you go. I wonder if they've fully just taken that over, which is the kind of job that they've done in the past where someone made something, they're like, all right, we have all these tools and assets. Can you make more stuff with that? Well, that's exactly what they did with Killer Instinct. And that's, with Microsoft as well. So they have a history of doing that, working with this company. So it makes sense.
Can you believe Lucy thought it would be Toys for Bob? Wow.
I know, right? The joke there, everybody, is he told me it was Toys for Bob first before Lucy. So he's throwing himself under the bus.
He didn't care when I said it. No, he didn't react, so it didn't happen.
Yeah,
I'm at the website now, and it just says Activision and Iron Galaxy. And based on this countdown timer, I believe we will see the reveal right before the Bombcast, or maybe right when the Bombcast goes live.
If it does show drop, it's gonna suck when we cancel the show so we can play it instead.
It's gonna be a short show,
Yeah.
Bombcast is dead, I heard.
Yeah.
It's good rough.
Xbox has officially delayed Fable to 2026. Says it'll definitely be worth the wait. This just happened earlier today. Announced by Xbox Game Studios head Craig Duncan, which is 2 first names. The delay is to give Playground Games more development time, aiming for the best possible game. This is a game that I think already had like a delay. Maybe that was internally. It's this game's been in the works for a long time. But they've also been giving these games a little bit extra time. I think they did that with Avowed, right? Avowed was supposed to come out late last year and then got pushed to this year, and that seemed to help Avowed quite a bit. Seems like they're kind of thinking the same thing here. Now, of course, the difference between last year and this year when you're delaying games as Microsoft has a lot of games coming out this year. So I don't think anyone's going to really be like up in their feelings too much unless that this is the one that they really, really care about, which I'm sure there's a lot of Fable fans out there maybe feeling that way. But if you were someone like, hey, what's Microsoft have that they can afford to delay a game? Well, this year it's a ton of stuff. So this one is not going to hurt too bad, I don't think. And I don't know how you guys feel about the stuff we've seen from Fable so far. I'm curious, interested, but I'm like, this is one of those where I really just want to get my hands on the controller myself to see what it actually feels like.
Yeah, they haven't really like we've seen a little bit, but not nearly enough to get a good read on
You know,
what kind of game's going to be.
Phil on the couch made a point of like, hey, that whole thing that we showed you at the Xbox show, what is it, like 2 years ago now? That was all gameplay, or maybe said in game, but I thought he said gameplay.
Game, right? And like,
I think he said gameplay. Like he was trying to say that's how it played, and I'm like, okay, I think I still just don't understand what I'm doing as the player. I think.
Exactly. I was running away from a giant or something. The first chink in Nikki's impeccable fantasy critic armor, though, by the way, because they had this in their thing, and now not coming out. It sucks. I don't think we can counterpick it now that it's officially not coming out. So we missed the opportunity there.
All right,
I know.
I'll just close that tab.
Oh wait, I put a bid in today.
Okay, well I'm gonna do it right now.
Oh, maybe because I had to.
Mine's $70.
Well, Jeff, you already got Wolverine when I tried to get it, so you bid me for Wolverine. So you're
is that
fine.
you?
You have to. Yeah, fuck you.
Sweet.
I tried to counterpick Wolverine. You already got it.
I was waiting to see who it was that did that bid because I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just bid more than that person probably did. I assumed it would be you or Sean, and I assumed I would get yelled at. And hey, it all came true. So here we are.
By the way, you said Avowed. Just quick update I should have done on the games thing. I beat it, Mike, and it was like a little over 52 hours, and I loved it the whole way through. So everything I said about how much I loved it at the beginning stayed true. Loved it the whole way through. My decisions mattered. It was cool. Love that game.
Yep, I think it's just a fun video game to play, and then they just nail all the stuff that they're going for, and you could tell that they just cut out anything that wasn't working, and so they just were left with a very fun video game.
I should have asked this much sooner. How does it run on Steam Deck?
I have streamed it to the Steam Deck because I think I did install it and try it, and it's like you can run it, but you got to really crank it down, and frame rate's rough. Yeah.
So I've been playing it on Steam Deck here quite a bit, and I would say that as someone wants to play it to kind of like continue playing it and get through it and make sure I don't lose my momentum, it's great to have that option. But it is not, I think, good enough to say if you're going to play this game exclusively on Steam Deck, that I think you should go out and spend the money to do so. Now, if you have a Roger Ally, a little bit more powerful, and just has Game Pass so you can go get that through Windows, that might be a slightly different situation. Just get it through Game Pass then, and you don't have to spend extra money on it. But yeah, it's not quite good enough to justify playing entirely on Steam Deck, I think.
But I didn't realize this, but as part of this announcement for Fable, they did release like a new minute-long video of just gameplay, and I'm kind of scrubbing through this thing right now. It's interesting. Like it looks like a very like high-fidelity kind of action RPG thing, like you would sort of expect here. There's some good-looking sausages. We got sausages up in this shit. So yeah, it almost kind of looks like The Witcher 3, a little bit faster paced than that. There's a little bit of me that's worried, like, oh man, this is like pretty just kind of straightforward, realistic art style, right? Whereas, the original Fable games had a little something going on
little
there.
Stylization, yeah.
Little stylized. I get it, a lot of people are back away from that kind of thing. We saw how that went for Dragon Age when it was ever so slightly stylized. People lost their minds. So yeah, this just scrubbing through this trailer, looks like it could be interesting. I mean, it's weird because the gameplay of Fable is never necessarily the biggest most important aspect of it. I don't know what is, to be honest. If you asked me what the most important aspect of Fable was, but I do hope they find ways to spruce that up and make it interesting. I still have some hopes for this. A little bit of a bummer it won't be this year. Do they have a big fall game now? Then do you think they just? Isn't Outer Worlds 2 supposed to happen? They really
Outer Worlds 2 is supposed to come out this year. Yeah, that would be the later half of the year for sure because of Call
of Duty. Yeah, that's right. Call of Duty is just their big fall game every year.
Yeah, as far as they're concerned, you're right. Call of Duty is it, and really, that's a lot of these big companies just don't plan stuff for the second half of this year specifically because they think Grand Theft Auto is going to come out.
Chat is saying Gears of War E-Day. I think that's maybe optimistic. I hope so, though.
Yeah, when I originally heard about that game, they were thinking 2025, and then they didn't put 2025 in that trailer, and I heard that they weren't going to do that because they were like probably going to move it to 2026. So that one seems on the bubble. I would assume 2026, though, because, why rush something when you have plenty of games already,
right?
Including a new Call of Duty. All right, next story here. DCU bosses have discussed new games with Rocksteady and NetherRealm. So DC Studios heads James Gunn and Peter Safran have started working with the studios, the game-making studios, to say, hey, how can we get everything to work together? This is something James Gunn, when he first took the job, said he was interested in. I think that they, after these conversations, are realizing this is going to be a process. They said that any games based on their collaboration are still a couple years away. Probably more than that at this point. And so it's gonna be interesting to kind of time these things up, because Superman, the movie that's coming out this year, right? That's a summer release. That's gonna be a big thing. They're probably gonna have this new DCU universe is going to establish itself and just be what it is by the time the first game comes out, and the games will have to try to either glom onto that or sort of be catching a bus that has already left because no one cares about it anymore because it's already come and gone. You never know. But that's just the way it's going to be, because making movies, making games is very different these days. We talked about that before. But they are, hey, we're going to work with Rocksteady and NetherRealm, which would be Injustice. That's the name of those games, right? Yes. I think they're probably considering something like that again, which makes some sense. It's been a while since the last Injustice.
Yeah, but I mean, because when James Gunn first came in, one of his things that he wanted everything to be in the same kind of DCU universe. And Injustice is very much its own separate thing. So I wonder if there's actually is room for an Injustice.
I think it would be Injustice style that takes place in this universe, or it's makes some nods to this universe. Because my guess here, and they're not being as hardline on that as they were when he first joined Mike, where he was like, we want everything to be part of the same universe. They are saying, games that are based on our stuff are a couple years away. And it's like, I think that's a little bit of a lighter take of, the stuff that's like, hey, we're going to do some work, and maybe the people on the game space can take that stuff and run with it if they want.
Because when he first came in, we said, it sounds like James Gunn doesn't really know how this works. It's like, we'll just have, everything tie in. It's like, the timing's pretty hard on that stuff. He probably has already learned that lesson.
What's up?
Breaking
Schreier tweet.
Post. Yep.
Warner Brothers Games is shutting down Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and WB San Diego. Sources tell Bloomberg News. They're also canceling the Wonder Woman game.
Okay. Yep. So Wonder Woman was something that got rebooted. It's been in development for a long time. Of course, Monolith worked on those Lord of the Rings, the Shadow of Mordor games, Shadow of War, and they were going to take the Nemesis system and apply that to Wonder Woman, and the director left, or got taken off the case last year sometime. They rebooted, restarted development, and you definitely got the sense that Warner Brothers did not have a huge appetite for that. So that game is done. Monolith Productions is shutting down. Will not be moving on to anything else. Remind me, what is Player First and WB San Diego? What have they worked on?
But boy, God, that's so. Those Middle Earth games were good, man. Right? That freaking Nemesis system was so freaking interesting.
Oh, it's Player First is multiverses, right? Okay.
Okay, man, they just bought them, right? Because they were high on multiverses, and now they're just freaking shut down.
And then Warner Brothers
San Diego.
They work on Back for Blood.
Looks like it was maybe a newer studio that hasn't have they released something yet? They have a jobs page here.
Yeah, I see the jobs page. Yeah,
on our projects.
So this
new
is
studio is what it's calling it on this website still. So I don't know if they even released the game.
This is especially frustrating because these are Monolith has been in the industry for a long time, has done some amazing stuff, but this goes back to those multiple stories we heard of Warner Brothers trying to sell off the gaming division. And really what that meant was, we will sell you these studios, but we're not going to sell you any of the IP of the stuff that they are known to be working on or have worked on in the past. So we'll sell you Rocksteady, but we're not going to sell you Batman. And Rocksteady's only worth so much without Batman. And really, it's kind of a liability because you have a lot of people working there, and then you have to pay for the license on top of that, or have them work on something new. So that becomes a problem. And so when Microsoft and a bunch of these other companies would go talk to Warner Brothers about this, it was always, those conversations never really went anywhere. And you got the sense that after so many false starts of trying to sell these studios, Warner Brothers is just going to do what they've been doing and just shut things down and get the hell out of Dodge, because they don't know how to run a company. So
and it's so frustrating because I bet the absolute failure of Suicide Squad is a big part of this, and whose fucking fault was all of that, right?
Yep.
Just such an obviously bad idea that wasted almost a decade of maybe your most talented studio. And I guess Rocksteady is not an issue so far. I mean, that story we were just talking about now, you think that was them getting ahead of this a little bit?
Yeah, maybe, yes. Because, I mean, we had conversations with Rocksteady and NetherRealm, and it's like, well, what about Monolith? They're working on a DC game, aren't they? Well, no, of course they weren't. Not anymore. Okay, this is, Yeah. So really, I honestly think this James Gunn story was always just kind of fluff. And like, there's only so much the director of Superman, even if he has the head of the DC universe under Warner Brothers, can do about the people who make video games. That's always going to be just saying some stuff, and that's all it could possibly be. This feels especially that way right now. Like, Rocksteady's going to make the Batman game that they need to make, and whether it has something to do with the work that James Gunn's doing on his movies or not, it's got a lot of bigger fish to fry before it can worry about maintaining consistency between the games and the movies, something that just we know now doesn't sell that many extra copies of video games these days. So yeah, we'll kind of see what that means for those studios. But the Rocksteady and NetherRealm definitely feel like, NetherRealm not necessarily on borrowed time. Sure, Mortal Kombat 1 didn't perform as well as previous Mortal Kombat games, but they're gonna keep making Mortal Kombat games. Those games will continue to make a lot of money. Rocksteady, you get the sense that, okay, you get another chance because, well, yeah, we did mess up by having you work on Suicide Squad and trying to get you to make some live service stuff. Let's go back to your bread and butter. But if that doesn't work, you get the sense that, yeah, it's all going to go wrong for them as well. All right. Assassin's Creed Shadows has a super duper leaked. There's people selling copies of this game everywhere. Facebook Marketplace. There's someone on Mercari. I don't know how to say that website, but it's like Mercari. It's a eBay kind of website that has a box of copies, and they're selling each copy for $100 each. You see
I was looking at the site. I was trying to figure out if it was legit because it was the only place I could find this Scott Steiner and the Tasmanian Devil shirt I was looking for to buy. Can I buy it off there? Is that
I bought several cameras.
Okay, so their Scott Steiner Tasmanian Devil shirt should be good.
Yes, I think this should be the best way to get those shirts. Actually, is probably through something like that.
Good.
Either way, it's like you kind of know why this happened. This game was originally supposed to come out in February, and so it seems like they just went with the original plan of printing the discs as they were and sending them out as they were, because it's like probably cheaper just to keep those plans rather than shift everything and just like tell retailers sit on those until March, and we'll have a day one patch and all that stuff. And that's what they're saying now is, oh, this is a bummer. We're Ubisoft. We wish you would not do this because there's a day one patch that's going to make the game even better. But people are out there buying and playing this game right now. So I suppose spoilers and all that stuff, but it's more just kind of an interesting thing of, oh, wow, people are selling this thing everywhere. All right, PS5 Pro sales have fallen behind PS4 Pro in the US. This is probably a multitude of factors, right? The PS5 Pro way more expensive than the PS4 Pro was, even relative to the cost of the PS4. And then I don't think people felt as much of a need to upgrade as they did when the PS4 Pro arrived, because that's right when everyone was buying a 4K TV, and that was the 4K console. So they had a very easy matching of desires and solutions. This PS5 Pro just does not have that same sort of oomph to it. And at the same time, I think people are generally pretty happy with their PS5s, or if they're not happy with it, it's not because it's not performing, it's because there's not enough games that take full advantage of it.
Yeah,
so
some of them are drastic, like, The Last of Us and Horizon look incredible, but like, they put out that patch for Astrobot, and very well familiar with how that game runs, and I really couldn't tell the difference. I'm usually pretty good about like frame rate type stuff and resolution, and I could Astrobot.
Yeah, I mean, you said like, oh, maybe people are already happy with their PlayStation 5, but if they're unhappy with their PlayStation 5, I don't think it's necessarily a matter of like, well, I just need to spend more money and I'll make my PlayStation 5 better, right? I think it's kind of just maybe feeling a little bit burnt out on the PS5 or just, the home consoles in general, just a little bit, right? It just kind of has not been the greatest generation for these machines.
Right, and that's the exact opposite of what it was for the PS4, right? If people were unhappy with the PS4, it was, boy, I wish I had even more power. And that actually would help. And no one was really saying that about the PS5 leading into the PS5 Pro. So, I don't think Sony regrets doing that. I bet that thing is still doing just fine. This comes from Circana and Matt Piscatello over there. They usually share this info by dollar sales. So even though this thing's more expensive, maybe it's selling fewer units and making less money. So maybe Sony's like, okay, we got to rethink things a little bit. But what that probably just means is this helps them understand how the stage is set for when they have to like market PS6, and like maybe they get a little bit crazier with the PS6 so that they can make it feel like it's new in some different ways rather than just more powerful, because that doesn't seem as compelling of a case anymore. And boy, every time we talk about this conversation, I always think about, I think it was, Iwata in an interview 25 years ago to at least 20 years ago saying, hey, we cannot sell consoles based on power anymore. That is not actually going to help us out. So we got to figure out other ways to do that. And God, they had the answer way back then. And these other companies now are kind of running into the same wall. It just took them a lot longer to realize it. All right. More than a dozen NetEase studios are reportedly at risk, including Nagoshi Studio, Quantic Dream, and Grasshopper. There's some updates here, but this is in the wake of that couple of studios that team in America that was working on Marvel Rivals getting shut down, and the level designer director getting let go. And then there was some reporting from Stephen Totillo saying a lot of studios around the world involved with NetEase are worried because the company's pulling back from gaming investments kind of across the board. I definitely got some tips from people who are like, hey, there's some studios like in Texas that NetEase is involved with that are also expecting something similar. So that word is going around. Now, in the wake of that reporting, there has been some like updates. Like I think Nagoshi's game is safe in that, the Nagoshi is someone that was the guy that was in charge of Yakuza at Sega. He left to go start a studio at NetEase. His game is safe in that they are going to continue making it and funding it, but they've already said that they're not going to like invest in the marketing of that game. So it's a little strange there. Now, in addition to that, Quantic Dream has said, no, actually, we are safe. We're unaffected by this, by layoffs and studio closures. And then the former Control lead designer, who also started a studio at NetEase, has also said that he's not affected by any closures. So I think there's probably still like other shoes left to drop here, but some of these studios at least will get to finish their games. And maybe some of those, like a smaller subset of those studios will be completely unaffected and we'll still get a marketing budget and all that stuff. But kind of seems like NetEase, the big other Chinese conglomerate other than Tencent that makes a lot of huge investments, kind of has lost their taste for investing in games all of a sudden.
Is it because Marvel Rivals was such a runaway success that they made enough money and they're like, all right, we're done?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like decisions that were made before Marvel Rivals, because they were like kind of making similar sort of decisions for that Visions of Mana team. Even before that game came out, they closed that studio. It was just like, this is them just kind of getting out of a lot of these bets.
And part of this was like, somebody like they wanted to maybe just not release Marvel Rivals because they were, so upset about having to pay that licensing fee. That's one of the reasons why I know Quantic Dream says that they're okay, but they're paying for that Star Wars license fee. That game is probably not anywhere near coming out. Star Wars games haven't exactly been killing it lately anyway. So, I mean, that's one that I would worry about still.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's keep going here. This is a little bit of a weird one. Hades 2 developer says it won't recast anyone after striking voice actors say that they may be replaced. Supergiant Games clarified that they have no plans to replace any voice actors for Hades 2. The statement comes after one of the voice actors, Marin M. Miller, who voiced Athena, Trisiphonie, and Electo, expressed concern about being replaced due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. Miller mentioned the possibility of being recast because Supergiant Games had not signed an interim agreement with SAG-AFTRA, which would allow actors to continue working during the strike. Supergiant Games stated that their games have never been subject to SAG-AFTRA strikes, and they will respect any actor who needs to pause work during the strike. They also confirmed that they have not recast any characters in Hades 2 and wish to continue working with the existing cast. So I think the weird point of contention here is, why hasn't Supergiant spoken with SAG-AFTRA and just like sorted this out? I don't know what that looks like. It's just not something I've ever like paid attention to. Like, what would go into that? Why a studio would not want to do that or would want to avoid that? Or is it just something where like they're like busy doing other stuff, so they just have not paid it any mind? So yeah, I think there's more to this, but it also just seems like they're kind of just waiting out the strike and waiting to see what happens. And in the meantime, they're not going to replace anybody with non-union actors at the very least. But there's definitely some weirdness here. Hades 2, definitely a bit, Hades very traded on the success of people liking those characters and having very good voice acting. So you think they would want to get this figured out. But maybe they also have quite a bit of time before 1.0 comes out, and they're hoping it gets sorted in the meantime. I don't know.
Yeah, this thing was kind of just confusing for me, Jeff. So
yeah,
even hearing you like summarize it, I'm still a little bit like, what's going on?
Well, I think we have a lot of unknowns to the story that we just can't pin down, so it becomes difficult. It's sort of like, is there a bad guy here? I don't know. All right. They're making a game based on Samurai Pizza Cats, a game or a show I never watched. Anyone watch Samurai Pizza Cats?
No.
Yeah, this is the one that like I'm aware that it existed because I heard the name before. And I think it's I do think it's
Samurai
strange.
Pizza Cats.
There it is.
I was on the phone. Sorry.
It's
I
okay.
think we're too old for it. I feel
I
like
think we might be a touch too old. Yeah.
Is this part of the wave post Turtles where it's like you had Street
Yes.
Sharks, you had tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills,
biker mice from
Mars? Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
it is
Yeah.
100% part of that. Yes.
Okay.
I think it was more anime.
It is more anime. Yes.
So that maybe that's why it didn't cross y'all's radar. But this was one of the only things that got me to like cats as a child, is because these cats were samurai and they also liked pizza.
And those are important things.
Yeah.
It is messed up that they just also went with the pizza thing. I felt like that one was spoken for.
I think didn't like a lot of them just like, nope, we're also doing pizza.
At least when Sonic happened, like he likes chili dogs.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
But I
Troopers.
really enjoyed Samurai Pizza Cats because they looked cool. There was 3 of them. There was the one with the white armor, the girl one, she wore pink, and then the blue one.
Would you like a 2D action RPG based on this Samurai Pizza Cats anime?
Grub, you're speaking my fucking language.
It to me that sounds like one of those Game Boy Advance Dragon Ball games.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool, fun thing for them to do with Samurai Pizza Cats. My kid loves cats. I'm gonna show her this show and see if she gets into it.
Yeah. I don't know much about the show, but this game actually looks surprisingly good.
Yep, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons it's getting a lot of attention. Obviously, bringing back an obscure or a lesser known franchise is always gonna be like, wait, what's happening here? But then it looks pretty well made. Finally, the last thing I have here, Pokémon Presents is happening. Is that this week? Yeah, that's Thursday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what are we expecting from this? We got to get updates on ZA, right? And then maybe those, what would it be, Gen 5 remakes?
I mean, Gen 5, the black and white games would be the next
Black and
one to
white.
get those remakes. So I think that's most likely. Maybe it's Let's Go Johto finally. I think it's
Yeah.
a little early for the main next gen, like the successors to Scarlet and
Mhm.
Violet still. Maybe they do a very early tease for that, especially if, they're like big Switch 2 games. I don't know. But yeah, Zaw is the big one because we don't know much about that at all, aside from a name and, it's involved with that city in some way. So hopefully I see some actual gameplay, maybe get an actual date, maybe some details on like the Switch 2-ness of it a little bit. It's definitely a Switch 1 game for sure. But what does it look like as a Switch 2 port or just enhanced version? I don't know. But yeah, I would love to see black and white remakes. I think those were the last amazing mainline Pokemon games, right? They were so good. They were also so good though because they're the last Pixel ones, and the
that's
Pixel
the
ones
problem.
were really good.
Yeah.
And if they remake it now, it might just look ugly like all the Pokemon games do.
I mean,
now.
that's the one where it's like, God, if they don't do HD 2D for this, they're not going to get it
They're
right.
never
It's
gonna do it.
Yeah, they're never going to do it.
Right.
And this one will not look right if they try
So
to. Whatever they do to it, that's not going to just like embrace those pixels is going to be a poor choice.
And like the original almost was kind of like proto HD 2D because you had like very good pixel art. It had like animated characters in the battles, but then you had like the 3D elements in the background that just blended in with it. So yeah, it's like I both want it and I'm terrified of it.
Other people have different opinions though. Nikki from chat says black and white looks like ass. You're lying to yourself. If you think those games look
Nikki.
good, they look like shit from a toilet.
Nikki, this is an all-time low moment for you,
Oh,
my friend.
Sean is getting triggered. He says, I have a nuke button next to your name. He's
Wow.
gonna do it.
Oh, Nikki.
Let him fight. I say let them fight.
Let them fight. Yeah,
when
let
the
the
freelancers
kids
start to
fight.
fight, you just gotta let them go at it and let them wear themselves out.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is how union busting works. You turn the laborers
Right, get them to
against
fight
each
among
other.
themselves. Exactly.
Two younger millennials enter. Only one leaves.
That does it for all the headlines. I have Jan, back over to you.
I've always had mixed feelings on black and white. I don't want to get into it. But
Why? I want you to get into it. What's your problem
I'm
with the best
curious, too.
Pokemon games?
Because I think they have the weakest starters is why.
Is this the one with the penguin?
No, that's Diamond and Pearl. That's Gen 4.
Oh, my bad. What were the black and white?
Tepig. No, that's 4.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're right. These guys aren't great. Yeah, it's Smug Leaf, whatever they actually ended up naming him. the fire pig, and then the kind of pathetic otter.
I do like the otter, but I don't like how he evolves. The otter's cute.
Well, yeah, all the evolutions for the starters for a long time now, I think, have been bad.
Yeah. This has been a problem with the series forever. Yeah, this is like the epitome of like they all evolve and just look like humans for some reason instead of monsters. Right? Like, and they're probably fighting type is their secondary one for some reason. So
the pig's name really Pig Knight? Because if it's not,
I think everybody wanted it to be Pignition before we got it. So like the fans
Pignition.
named them Pignition and Smugleaf, and then we got their official names, and they weren't nearly as good.
Is Pig Knight supposed to be a play on Suge Knight?
No,
wait, Dan,
I
what
did
do you
it
think?
already.
It's probably not, but I would like it better if it was. Dangling other Pokemon out of windows.
Okay, there might actually be Pig Knight might actually be the second evolution of that. So the pig is definitely the best one then.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah, just do a non-starter run. We can all be brave and do that. We don't have to use these starters. Just because some random scientist gives us one and tells us something is important doesn't mean it's actually important.
Professor
Throw it in
Oak
the
will
trash.
fucking shoot you.
Throw it in the fucking trash. Go and catch a Pidgey. That's your starter Pokemon now. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing.
You can't catch a Pidgey in this game. Pidgeys weren't the bird in this one,
Look,
right?
Okay, I don't know what a Pidgey, but it's actually more of a crow, and it's called.
Boy, Jam was
Crowley.
right. We shouldn't have talked about this.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Also, the legendaries for Black and White kind of dumb. Reshiram, whatever it's called.
They're okay, but there's lots of good. What about the guy who just carries a 2x4 around though? That guy's great.
Jim Duggan.
Yes, the Jim Duggan Pokemon's fantastic.
Hold on, I'm just gonna do a quick.
Pokemon loves America.
5 Pokemon. All right, what do we got in Gen 5? Who's cool?
This game looks so good, Nikki.
Does Nikki hate sprites?
He's more of a 7-Up person.
More of a Starry fan.
I'm a Starry Mark.
Starry Mark.
Starry Mark.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Gen 5. Whimsicott's cool. All right. Whimsicott's cool. I guess Zoroark. Oh, you know what? Okay. My main man, Captain Cinchino, is in Gen 5, so we'll roll with that.
Samoa Joe's in there.
You don't get a Pidgey, you get a Pie Dove. A Pie Dove. It's a Pidgey, but more of a pigeon or a dove. I guess maybe both. It's hard to tell.
Let the pigeons mate with doves, and we've never been the same.
Yeah, we really messed up. Here's this Pokemon that's just a sarcophagus with ghost arms. That's neat, right?
Maybe we need to stop Pokemon.
Trubbish! Jeff is the one with Trubbish. Come on.
Game of the year!
All right.
That's just a pile of garbage. And they're like, we're done. We've accomplished a character design. And I'm like, I'm a big fan of that.
See, we're all getting worked up. We're not going to get a new Black and White this year. We're not going to get a new Gen 5. They're going to announce like another schedule. They're going to announce like they already did a teeth brushing thing. They already did a sleeping thing. What is like another bodily function or thing we have to do?
Jizz.
Nikki was like had very strong feelings about it looking like ass and shit from a butt, and then Nikki was like, "Hang on, I'm gonna go look at it." And now they're in the chat saying, "Okay, folks, I would like to issue an apology."
God, I hope Nikki was just thinking of something else.
Yeah. Just thinking of Digimon.
Was Nikki thinking of like?
Nikki
says this game looks good. Yeah, it looks great.
All right. Well. We're gonna need to we're gonna need to look at what was actually happening here, and we'll do that during the break, and we'll be back with some emails right after this.
I'm learning.
Method acting.
And that's the emails. Bombcast Giant Bomb.
That's the email Steam now. Yep.
Hey, you want an excuse to eat Uncrustables for every meal? Get oral surgery. I have just been going to town on Uncrustables, and it's
just because they're like so soft and mushy.
Very soft. It's a delight. It's the best.
I give my children Uncrustables, and I'm like, I don't know if I should, because I don't know if I would.
Probably not good for you, but that's what I'm saying. It's an excuse. Like, I'm just going to eat Uncrustables and Shamrock McFlurries.
It's also, I think it's a hassle to have to thaw them out.
It is, but it's, it's delayed gratification. It's like the marshmallow test.
Yeah, I just like planning ahead to eat an Uncrustable feels like such a disconnect, because it feels like it's something that should be like, I am at a low point. I just need something now. So to be like, I plan to be at a low point later where I'm going to eat an Uncrustable. It's a very weird thought.
I just ran upstairs and I threw them on the counter. So
yeah, but
I'm
you got the
for
oral surgery gizmo.
That's true. Yeah,
I don't like Uncrustables. I think Tony Hawk is better than Uncrustables.
Shit,
a thing I don't like.
That.
You're just saying
I don't
ridiculous.
Like. Why do you have to compare everything to one another? It's like
Fun,
really
immature. I take issue with Uncrustables because I would just rather make a PB&J sandwich myself and just slap a glass over it to just cut it out.
It's the easiest thing to make already. I don't know if this is the one we also still have to make. Jeff's like, no, you don't understand my kids.
No. I'm shaking it. Dan, realizing he could make a sandwich by himself. Did you hear him go?
Listen. I've made 5,000 peanut butter sandwiches.
Well, I know, but
the idea of like lopping off the crust with a fun way, like I like the pinched, the double taper.
Yeah. My wife got a little tool that like just is the shape of an Uncrustable, and I can use that to like just make the sandwiches into Uncrustables for my kid.
That I had not considered. That's
for
pretty
pot
good.
stickers, Jan. That thing.
Yes.
I mean, you think I could use it to make a pierogi though? It's okay too.
No, it's a different continent.
I don't think I've ever had a pierogi. How big are pierogies?
They're about the size
depends.
Of a dumpling.
Be the size of a pot sticker though. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think this dumpling press actually works because I like creasing it myself, but I don't know.
Look at Cosbot's link in the chat saying these guys are local, but I don't know if it's to your taste. This Gallant Tiger. Those look like fancy Uncrustables, and they're here.
They are just Uncrustables.
That looks good as hell.
Dan, do not buy these, all right? Just make a peanut butter sandwich with nice bread.
There's 6 locations.
I did buy that. I bought that murder bread Dan's been talking about.
You got the murder bread?
I got the murder bread. Yeah,
murder bread's awesome. Yeah,
it's great. I don't know if it's that much better for me, but it like feels like it's better for me.
I've heard it's better.
Thinly
Steph usually does a good job at like researching that stuff, and it's the bread she swears by. So I bet it's better for you.
That's good.
Yeah.
I just feel upset when we talk about food lately.
We're supporting the murderers when we buy that bread.
Oh yeah, I love to support the murderers.
Are you upset, Jan?
It's fine. We don't need to get into it.
It's not like it used to be when we talked about food on podcast.
No, I think it's still better than when we talked about food on the podcast before, because like I think that made me upset more. This makes me less upset because I'm proud of the growth.
Sure.
Yes. Emails. We played the music. Grub played it. First email comes from Joe in Michigan. Joe writes in, if there are too many indie games coming out for people to play them, does that mean video games has a bad case of Indi-genstion? Joe in Michigan. All right. Okay.
No, that's not what that means at all. That's a completely different word that has no relationship to video games. That was a bad email, Joe. How dare you?
Joe, I should have left you in the spam folder.
I thought it was funny, Joe. I'm your friend.
All right. Next email comes from Josh. Hello, Bomb Crew. I manage a movie theater, and I got into a discussion about anime with my employees. That's your first mistake, Joe, or Josh. I saw an advertisement for the new Gundam movie/show, and I asked them if they knew what Gundam was. They seemed confused and said, "Is it like Transformers?" This made me a little sad, but then I realized the last Gundam series I got into was 00 Gundam, which came out in 2007. I then realized most of the employees I was talking to would have not been born yet or be up to 4 years old. I then realized, despite being a millennial, I'm an anime boomer. It led me down a rabbit hole of how much time has passed, and I realized that the kids that were 16 now were born when movies like Avatar, Hangover, and Up came out. I then realized that those movies are 4 years away from being fucking 20 years old. What is time? What are some things that make you feel like a gamer anime boomer, parentheses, aka make you feel old?
This happened to me today when I was in the car after dropping the kids off. I had the radio on, and they were talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees, people who could be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year.
I hear angry texts from my dad every time they announce the nominees. Yes.
And they were talking about it after they played a song, and the song was from the White Stripes, and the song before that was Matchbox 20. And I was like thinking about Mike being, I'm just getting the Matchbox 20. And I'm like kind of getting like frustrated in my head, arguing with Mike, like why like. First, I talked myself down, first of all, because I'm like, why do I care what music Mike's listening to? I don't. But I'm like, why not get into something like a little bit more, modern, recent, like, and then the White Stripes started playing. I'm like, White Stripes. And then next thing they said was, and the White Stripes are nominated to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I don't know if people know, you have to be around for 25 years before before you're eligible for that. And I fucking almost drove off the road. I'm like, that one really got me. I'm like, oh my God, this band that I was just in my head talking about, they're new and exciting and actually they're 27 years old.
It was like late 90s was their first album.
90s. Yep, 97.
Same era. I when I think about it, I'm like, I like some like modern rock bands like Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that was like late 90s that they started up. So yeah.
Oh boy.
I've said it before, but the gaming one for me was always when Abby started and she said Halo was her favorite retro series. And I was like, and that was like 10 years ago or not that long ago.
I mean, it happens with games all the time. Whenever I look at the timeline, I've been like, oh, it was this like 10 years from this game to that game. And it's been 20 years from that game to today. And it feels like no time has passed. And
what was the thing? It's like the 360 now is as old as the NES was when the 360 was the current thing. It's like,
I mean, honestly, it's probably as old as the Atari was. Like,
Sounds like it's like depressing. Like, I think The Witcher 3 is going to be 10 years old in a few months.
Metal Gear 5.
Right. It's like, man, games aren't really like we still get so many good games. I don't want to be like that, but like they aren't inherently different all that much from them. Right?
Yeah, we know like at a certain point, like it clicked over. It's like the hardware didn't make a difference anymore. It was time and money, and these companies only want to spend a certain amount of time and money. So we are just at that plateau since like 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at just that like mid 90s to like mid 2000s jumps. We're like 98 to 01. Look at Metal Gear 1 to Metal Gear Solid 2. It's like that's just completely insane. That was 3 years.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, even when we were talking about like early 3D and we're like, okay, well, sure, the new consoles might do some 3D stuff, but we weren't expecting Mario 64 right after Yoshi's Island. And so it was like, that was such a massive leap. And then, of course, the leap from N64 to GameCube and N64 and PlayStation to PlayStation 2 was also massive. So it does make time feel like it passed, really, because things were so different. And that just is not the case anymore. So, yes, any of those comparisons, those timeline comparisons really get me.
I did it with wrestling a lot. I remember when AEW was here last time, it was like a year ago. We were at a bar afterwards, and it was like Excalibur and me and Dante Martin. And Dante Martin was talking about like, oh yeah, I remember, my first Rumble, the first one I ever saw was when I was in school. I was a little kid and Sheamus won. And I think Excalibur just turned and was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
it's like, oh God, Sheamus being your childhood Rumble winner. Like, oh my God.
The wrestling thing is so weird to me because like Steve Austin's time on top seems like this giant chunk of time to me. It's really just a few years, whereas like Roman Reigns' first WrestleMania main event was maybe, I don't know, like how many years ago
2015.
Was that now?
It would have been WrestleMania 32. Or no, 31.
10 years
WrestleMania
ago,
31, right? 10 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I had a moment. Go ahead.
Jen. No, you for. Okay, well, yeah, the sports is very similar where for a long time I would, you'd watch, but all these players are older than me. Then they're the same age. And now the oldest one in the NBA is younger than me, LeBron James. And that it's like, look, okay, it's very hard to look at that and be like, okay, so wait, how old are the rookies? Oh, they're half my age.
That same thing kind of happens when I talk to people about SNL, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I love the heyday of SNL of so and so and so and so. And then I'll like think about it like that person has been off the show and has a full movie career.
Oh yeah.
They haven't been on in almost 20, 30 years.
Yeah, you'll see like a random like Beck Bennett. It's like he was on for 7 years. Yeah, he's one of the new guys to me. Like,
yeah. I received psychic damage when I was talking to an acquaintance, and we bonded over the fact that we both liked Power Rangers. And I thought like, oh, sick. You love Mighty Morphin also, right? And then he looks at me and goes like, no, that's old man shit. I'm down with Mystic Force. And then I'm like, wait, what the fuck is Mystic Force?
I don't mean to sound negative, but like, imagine being a Power Rangers fan of other Power Rangers fans for liking the different Power Rangers.
Yeah.
You know, it's
You're
like,
right, that's really sad.
Like, come on. It's like, look, you all need to bond together. You gotta set the small differences aside.
Or my dad talking about baseball, and as you get older, like, you know, at a certain point, it's like, oh my God, I'm older than some of these players. And then you realize, oh my God, I'm older than these coaches. Yep. And then it's the thing where it's like, I feel like I'm almost getting to this point where it's like, let's say I see like a Dominic Mysterio or a Rhea Ripley, who's likely, you know, almost certainly going to be Hall of Fame. And it's like, look, they might have a 40-year career. I don't know if I'm making it, you know? Like, like wow, that's crazy to think about. Yeah.
Especially because, like, they're all healthy now.
Yeah, they take care of themselves a lot better. That's
a lot
true in
better
sports too. Yeah,
in most ways. Yeah.
All right. We got 2 emails from Sam from Erie, Pennsylvania. That's what PA is?
Yeah, you got it.
Erie's pretty close to me. Yeah. Erie.
Cool. Thank God I got that right. 2 emails. First email. Can we get a spin-off cooking show for Dan? Here's the premise. A box of ingredients, a general description of the dish, the country/culture of origin, and then we let Dan go nuts trying to make it happen. 1-hour timer for completion and plating. I think there's an easy 10-hour-long episode arc before he gets to get really dialed in. Cuisine.
I've thought about this because Bianca and I watch Great British Bake Off, and I do think about like, oh, what if it was just like me or my dad installed here, and we had to just follow the same rules, and it's just like, yeah, I think that's a show. I think or an interesting wrinkle in an existing show, just to throw in a complete idiot when it comes to the subject matter.
I think you would beat Bobby Flay.
I would be. See, I've never seen that one. What is the gimmick? You have to actually beat the like pro chef.
Yes. So you pick a dish to cook. So you go against another chef first, and then from there, if you proceed to the next round, you present a dish that you and Bobby Flay both have to cook, and it's judged from there.
Okay. I know what I would make
because
on Instagram this morning, I would make this. It's Cheez-It Rice Krispie treats. I think it was on the official Cheez-It Instagram account, which I follow, and they crunched up a bunch of Cheez-Its and put a bunch of marshmallows in it and made Rice Krispie treats out of Cheez-Its. And I looked at that. I watched it several times. My algorithm's going to give me more good stuff like that.
Jeff, if cheese pizza is kids' food, then what the fuck is that?
Mutant kids left in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ooze.
I'm making Dan's teeth hurt.
I forgot to talk about this, but I went to like a pizza place over the weekend, and like they had like all their pizzas laid out behind the glass, no labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like I point, disinterested person working the front. And
that's how you know it's good, though, because you can't have that if you're not good. If you don't have good food,
sure. And then like there were 3 different pizzas with various forms of mushrooms and maybe meat on it, and then like what looked to be a very plain pie, but there was different stuff on it. And I asked like, "Hey, what kind of pizza is this?" And then the person just looks at me, very upset. Looks down at the pizza, looks back at me, and goes, "It's cheese." And I'm like, is it just normal cheese? Because there's stuff on it. It's like cheese.
Oh boy.
I'm like, okay, cool.
Am I remembering right that Grub used to be a pizza delivery guy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If it's a general job in that, I probably did it. Yeah.
Tell me if I can expect this to go well tonight. I'm playing I've only been eating Uncrustables and pudding for like 5 days, and
where
tonight
are we going with this?
I'm gonna try to order my pizza, my special Domino's order, you know, because I got enough points to redeem a free medium 2-topping, which is perfect for my purposes. I'll eat the whole thing. And I want to put in the special instructions because they always do the thin crust square style, you know, when I do my special pizza.
Yeah.
And I think in special instructions, I want to write, please do twice the amount of cuts square style. I had surgery and my mouth can't open very wide, so I need them bite-sized. Do you think that will work and it'll come the way I'm picturing, just tinier
there's
squares?
There's no guarantee it'll work because everybody, especially these days, because weed's legal, every day, like they're high. They are 100% high there. I have no doubt in my mind, the people making your pizza tonight will be high. So there's a chance, even though they know they're supposed to, we knew we were supposed to check the special instructions, we might forget. So, but if they see it, they will do that. That's not some big ask. That's nothing that you'll be completely fine. Now, if it does arrive and it's not cut the way you want, fucking do it yourself.
Well, I don't think I have a pizza cutter, but I do have scissors, so I could do it Cobra style.
That'll be fine.
Yeah,
but why how do you not have a pizza cutter?
No, I think scissors may
think
be
I
the
do.
superior pizza cutting device.
Ooh.
Sure.
Do I have a pizza cutter? I don't know.
I just bought one. I got a deal at the they're reopening FYEs in malls, and they're mostly like anime and like Japanese snack stores now. I found the bargain bin, and they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed pizza cutter on sale for $6. So I was like, well, I don't want to lose money on this deal, so I picked that bad boy up.
So old.
$6?
$6, baby.
Oh fuck, dude.
Let's fucking go.
I didn't know you were so good with money, man.
Right? Just waiting for the deal. It was probably the first pizza I ever bought. Just waiting for this moment. That blade is probably as dull as a baby's bottom, but it was $6.
You know, that old idiom.
Yeah.
What baby butts are sharp to you?
Well, they're not. That's why it works so well. That's why it works.
Is your ass sharp
Smooth
right
as
now?
a baby. Okay.
As smooth as a baby's bottom, yeah.
Because they're so smooth. They're dull. I mean, smooth's just
like
a
they
better
say,
way of
it's
saying dull.
easy as selling candy to a baby.
Yeah, because they want it so much.
They're so flush with cash.
They're flush with cash, yeah.
All right, wait, I got this list up and I forgot I was going to do this. Pop quiz, Jan. What is IA for states?
Iowa?
That is Iowa, correct. All right, I'm going to do one more. What is, let's see here, SC?
South Carolina?
That's right. All right, good
I will
job,
50
Jan.
for 50 that 100%. I'd bet $1 million on it.
Yeah, I think
Listen.
I probably could as well, yeah.
I only know California because that's all I know.
That's all you
And
need to know.
Backlar only knows the like 6 tiny states around New Jersey and a couple big ones.
No, I still don't know where Delaware is.
That
all
doesn't
right.
matter. CT.
I'm not a CT guy.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Sam has another email. Hi, Jan. Sorry for the email barrage today. The work calendar is empty on a Monday, and I'm
It's a tough
over
pull.
caffeinated. Can we get 3 minutes on your current coffee situation? It's been a while. I'm still rocking a V60. I've switched to a glass V60, just so it retains heat a little bit better, and that's it. My fun carafe broke, so I just brew directly into what used to be a pasta sauce jar. I'm just normal.
Hell yeah. Innocent. man.
Last email of the show.
Ooh. By the way, I don't know what a carafe is, but it rhymes with giraffe, and I can't think of a lot of things that rhyme with giraffe. So I looked up giraffe carafe to see if it's a thing, and there you can buy giraffe carafes. Go on.
Phil and
This is a good show we do.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, do you know what a carafe is now that you looked up giraffe carafe?
It's like a pitcher or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
picture.
okay,
If you're in Europe, you can't be like, hey, can I get a glass of water? They'll be like, what are you fucking talking? You have to say, can I get a carafe? And they'll bring you a jar of water to the table. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you
we learned
think
something.
it would be frowned upon if I walked around GB at night with like one of those fancy wine aerating pourer things and just asked people if they wanted slurricane and just pour a shot into their mouth?
I was going to say, if it's just the thing you need to carry around, just have Mike Mahardy there. But the slurricane, he would look down his nose.
I think if it's you doing it, yes. I think if it was anyone else, no.
I would absolutely accept the slurricane from Jake.
Oh, I would too. Yeah.
I would not. I'm sorry. I don't. I think
Mike,
I'd get a headache. I'm
Would
sorry.
you shotgun a beer with me?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say no. I'd regret it, but sure. God, that's been a while. That's been a hot moment.
I
You guys see
think
that
we
tweet from PBR where they're like, if you're
No.
not drinking in January, have you tried eating ass? They just tweeted that.
What?
Oh, they got one of those social media people. Okay.
Yeah, I got one of them.
Just doing one of those things now, huh?
Is it still up?
I think so.
It's just a bit. One time I was at karaoke, and I don't know if this guy was just being weird if he was trying to say something. For he just got up there, and it was his turn to sing, and he just like very loud, I'm like, "Hey everyone, you know what season it is?" Everyone's like, ah. He's like, "It's ass eating season." Everyone's like,
He's saying, did he sing something like "Candle in the Wind" or something wildly inappropriate right afterwards?
I don't know. I forget what he's. I was just reeling from like That guy just screamed that, huh?
It's just I'm imagining like a Simpsons crowd, like, the way you described it, like yay, and then like they said that, and they're like, oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know how to react to that.
All right. Well, last email of the show. Phil in Calgary writes in, "Hey, bomb folk, I recently learned of a Colorado dish called a slopper and wanted you all to know about it. Here's the description from Wikipedia. A slopper is a cheese. I'm just going to read this like a strip club host. A slopper is a cheeseburger served smothered in red chili or green chili or chili sauce.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sloppers generally include grilled buns and are often topped with freshly chopped onions and sometimes French fries. If I lived somewhere that these were available, I would say I'm going for sloppers with the boys as often as possible.
Yeah.
And would laugh every single time. What are your thoughts on the slopper?
Pro slopper.
Yeah.
Anti.
Green chili on everything in Colorado, absolutely a thing. I never heard anyone call it a slopper, and I'm kind of wondering if they kept that from me because I was a transplant and they didn't want to share all the good stuff with me.
Sure.
You were ready to slop it up with them.
I'm ready to slopper
for the boys is maybe the most powerful phrase in the English language. Yeah. So yeah, they did not give that to me.
And hey, when we say a slopper for the boys, everyone is welcome. To join. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be ready for some sloppy toppy. I'd get down
Sloppy
with that.
toffee?
Toppy.
What if it was toffee though, like the candy? Sloppy toffee.
I'm glad that this video call thing is slowly muting you.
Just keep doing it. It can't get enough of trying to quiet me. I hate it.
Oh, look at this giraffe carafe. Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is great.
You all called me a fool.
No one called you a fool.
We were just silent in a judgy way.
Let's all get giraffe carafes.
Good.
A new gamer tag.
Yeah, giraffe carafe with the boys. No euphemism.
Pickle giraffe carafe?
Okay. I like where this is headed. Thank you, Mikey. Now I regret saying that I'm glad that the website is oppressing your audio. Folks, that does it for emails. Thank you for sending your emails to bombcast@giantbomb.com. I now have to do more work because all of the emails go to the spam folder for whatever reason. So I'm trudging through the spam. I'm clicking on all the links and I'm getting fished left and right. Folks, this week we got.
Did you get those Amazon gift cards for Perkins?
What?
That's not how the scams usually work. They're like, I'm your CEO, Perkins Miller. Hey, can you get me some Amazon gift cards? It's for a client.
That is like a very interesting breed of the scams now. I don't know if this is a newer thing, but I do get it fairly regularly. Like, hi, this is your boss, and here's my name of your boss. I need money. I'm like, man, that's weird. That's
Hey, no scam on the gift cards I got for winning the Super Bowl pool. Those cashed right in.
All right. Okay. This week, Game Mess Mornings popping off at a new time. We're moving into noon time or 9 a.m. Pacific. What else do we got going on? We got a whole bunch of stuff.
Club. Jeff's gonna beat the
we
Blues
gotta be
Brothers
starting Mike's by
2000.
now, right?
Mike has all of his gimmicks. He's gonna look amazing in these gimmicks.
I can't wait. Steph cannot wait. So she keeps talking to me about it because she's aware of the game and she's like, when does that start? And I'm like,
does she know the game?
That's aware of the game. That's interesting.
She played it as a kid, and it was definitely
God, it is 1,000,000% one of these angry video game nerd NES bullshit games.
She never watched Angry Video Game Nerd, if that's what you're saying. But
I don't think that, but
Okay, yeah, but she keeps bringing it up, and she's like, "Why hasn't he started yet?" And I'm like, "I don't want to talk about it." And then I walk out of the room angrily.
Look, you're halfway through your game, and that's taking 2 episodes so far. I don't think you're beating it tomorrow.
No, me neither. Yes,
that's another fucked up thing about this Blake Club is that every level is 2 hours long. Then because you've beaten 2 levels and you've done 2 episodes.
I mean, I've definitely made some mistakes that have prolonged it for sure. But I think a lot of that is built into the way the game functions and structured. Not not knowing how to fucking save. Obviously, that was on me. But I've definitely done some boneheaded stuff. But it's the game gets so frustrating, I 100% lose my patience and make it worse for myself. So yeah.
I love
Blues Brothers 2,000.
Yep, tomorrow.
Yes. That's tomorrow, popping off at the normal Blight Club time. We'll have a voicemail dump truck, probably some other streams popping off as well. But also on Friday, we will be checking out the Steam NextFest demos, unless something else catches our fancy instead. BCR this week, we may probably just focus and sit down. I'll grab some folks to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. I've already, yeah. That does it for another episode of the Giant Bombcast. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna hit the music now. Oh God, my throat. Anyway, he's been Mike, he's been Dan, he's been Jeff Grubb, I've been Jan. You at home, I've been doing great. You deserve Best Supporting Actress this year at the Oscars. We're going for the goddamn EGOT, and we're starting with the this year. We're fucking winning that daytime Emmy. God damn it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
Yeah.
I love you at home.
Goddamn EGOT. We're gonna win things.
And the clitoris.